Your hands behind your back.
Hmm?
Do you have any weapons on you? What do you have in your pockets? Separate your feet.
What's that?
Separate your feet.
Oh, real, man.
Separate your feet. Sure. All right, where's your ID?
What's the crime on
Where's your ID?
What am I on? I should be able to fuck it up for
Where's your
time?
ID? Okay. You're gonna take a seat right here, okay?
Oh, sure, okay.
Take a seat.
You all right?
This is what's gonna happen.
Wow.
Okay? You're gonna cross your feet.
Oh,
If you try and run from me or do anything, I'm
oh.
gonna tase you. Okay.
you got tased me? Okay.
Yep. So where's your ID?
Well, what's again? What's the crime? Do you
I
understand?
need to have your ID,
Dude.
and then I'll be happy to explain things to you. So where's your ID?
Well, what's your name? Who are you
I'm
guys?
Deputy Kitzlar with the Brown County Sheriff's Office.
Kitzlar?
Yeah.
All right. Is that KITSLER?
It's right here.
Is
It's
that?
right here.
Well, I can't see it.
Okay. That's wonderful. Where's
Kitz-
your ID?
No,
Where's
Kitzlar.
your ID?
Does it start with a K or
What's
a
your name?
C?
What's your name?
I just want to get this right. Does it start with a
Where's
K?
your ID?
Kids. Okay, so I'm just taking a guess. I'll figure it out at the police station later.
Where's your
Wait.
ID?
Are you guys sheriff? You're police? You're both police? Okay. And then your name?
Deputy York.
Your? Okay, so is that YOR?
Again, it's spelled pretty clearly right in front of you.
I can't. Once again, I can't see it.
Can
So
you read or what?
no, I can't. I can't
Okay,
read
I'm gonna
that.
ask you again. Where's
So-
your ID?
I'm trying to figure out who you guys are.
Well, we just told you who we are. Deputy Kitzlar and Deputy York. What's your name?
Okay,
Where's your
and
ID?
I'm just confirming. YOR?
Okay, it's pretty simple.
Okay, yeah. YOHR.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Kitzler, yeah. I mean, my last name is Hines, so.
Okay, where's your
You see-
ID?
Okay, yeah. What's your guys' first name? Kitzlar and your. What's Kitzlar?
Listen, we're not going to get anywhere until I have your
Let's
driver's
find out who each other are. Yeah.
license. I'm Deputy Kitzlar with the Brown County
Okay.
Sheriff's
And I
Office.
say, yeah.
My number is 1402. Okay.
All right.
I have
What?
a legal reason to identify you now.
Me too. I got a legal reason to
Listen
know
to
who
me.
you
I
guys
have a
are.
legal
Oh, now you're gonna
reason to
shine your
identify you.
light in my
Okay.
face. So that's
So,
pretty rude.
I'm asking where your
You
ID
guys are
is.
being rude.
I'm asking
shining your
where
light.
Your ID is.
But you guys are being really rude,
Yeah, they are.
shining your lights in my face like this.
Take a look. Make sure.
Where's your ID?
So Kitzler, yeah, Kitzler, what's your first name? I can tell you my first name if you tell me yours.
First initial is B.
B, okay, T. All right, looks like we're getting somewhere here.
So are you failing to provide identification?
It sounds like you are. I
Are
mean,
you refusing to?
are
I
you
have absolutely no reason
B
to give
Kitzler?
you my full identity.
Well, why is that? What's protecting
I've given
you?
you my information, my badge number, and the first initial of my name.
Okay,
You don't need anything.
B
further.
Kitzler. I
I
hear
have
that.
a legal reason to be stopping you as an officer.
What's the crime?
And again, I said I'm
But-
happy to explain that after I get your ID.
All right. Well, I mean, you heard it. I mean,
Nope, you didn't provide anything.
It's T Hines.
Okay,
You tell me
What's
you're
your
B.
first name?
Okay, let's hear your first name.
What's
why?
your first name?
Why are you withholding your information from me?
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
you
happy
said
to
B
provide it to you.
Kitzler, right?
I was happy to provide.
And then you got your. I don't have. What's the first? What's the
your first
initial?
name?
What's the initial of his
What's your
first
first
name? B Kitzler. What's B? Me?
What's your
Brian?
first name?
Brad?
Hey,
I mean,
what's your first name?
let me hear your first name. I'm willing to exchange. I got to find out who you are. I'm gonna find
So
out.
this is what's going to happen.
I got to find out eventually.
Okay. Right. But right
Whatever
now,
ticket. I mean,
right
what?
now I have a reason to identify you. Okay.
What's
and,
that?
And I want to make.
I
this
told you who I
perfectly
am.
clear.
I'm the
Hey,
owner. I'm the owner.
Listen to me.
I'm
Are
the
you
owner.
refusing
This
to
is-
identify yourself?
I'm willing
Stop
to.
talking over me.
I'm willing to exchange it.
Are you refusing to identify yourself? We can make this really clear and
I'm-
really quick, so then I can just take you to jail and you can sit
What about that
in a
person?
cell until you identify yourself.
I'm willing to exchange. You're not identifying who you are.
I
B
did.
B Kitzler T Hines. I'm telling you.
What's your first name?
What's your first name? B Kitzler. I mean, come on. What's so hard about that?
Copy.
And
your
your.
initial?
What's the first? A T.
T.
What's your first
Okay,
initial? Your.
Okay, Travis.
All right. What's your first initial? Your. What's your name? Your. Kitzler and your.
Yep.
Well, you can't. What's your first initial for your first name? Your.
Again, it's right on. It's
B
right here.
Kitzler. Right. Okay, I didn't see it. What does it say? Your. It's M. M. Your. It's either an M or an N.
You know,
I mean, I'll find it out eventually. Once I, I'll talk to the police station, make my complaints about you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
We can get you some training records and discipline records for Yor and Kitzler.
Yep.
Since
You'll find zero.
Zero. Yeah, the way you guys manhandled me the way you did. I mean, it's. I think
Bag?
there's
Oh, here,
there's nothing in the bag.
When you're reaching into it, yeah, there's nothing in the bag.
Just
but
a
guess what?
general
You know how many
bag.
people we deal with that have
Coin
guns
purse.
and knives?
A coin purse.
Do you know how many people
Yeah.
we deal with that have guns and knives?
Yeah, and
when you reach
you
into a
guys
bag?
you guys are sorely underprepared for a coin purse. All right, you
so
guys.
that's what it is. It's a coin purse.
You elevate, and it sounded like you pulled out your gun or something.
Oh, I did. You were
So-
reaching into a bag. I told you to stop.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
So you overreact. I mean, this whole situation, you've been overreacting
Have you ever heard of react?
over the situation. What was it? Were you called, or are you
Action,
showing up?
reaction, you've heard that.
Were you called, or was this a part of a regular patrol? Yeah, no, it does.
After you
Was there-
confirm,
Was there a complaint?
Mr. Hines.
What's the complaint?
Mr. Hines.
Kitzler?
Are you going to let me talk?
What's the
Are you gonna
complaint,
let me
Kitzler? I asked the question first, then you can talk. Okay, I'm giving you the
Holy
opportunity
shit,
to
dude,
talk
you've asked-
after I ask my question,
Then
Kitzler.
ask a question.
I did. Well, were you called, or what? Or did you show up as part of your patrol, Kitzler? Or either one? You can ask because you both use the same radio. All right, Yor and Kitzler, two jokers here.
So are you going to ask a question so I can answer it?
Did you hear it? I mean, what's so hard
Go again.
about
Go ahead.
what's so hard about answering it when I asked it?
You didn't
You
ask
just
me a
have to
question.
keep
You've been running your mouth
Yeah.
since I asked you stuff.
Kitzler. You're playing mind games, okay?
Okay, so what's your
All
question?
right. I asked it twice, and then now you're gonna say that, and then I ask it a third time, Kitzler, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, did you ask your question again?"
No, what's
That's
your
crazy. You're playing some real math. Let's keep out there. Or either one. You can ask because you both use the same radio. All right, Yor and Kitzler, two jokers here.
So are you going to ask a question so I can answer it?
Did you hear it? I mean, you
So
guys,
that's what it is. It's a coin purse.
you elevate, and it sounded like you pulled out your gun or something.
Oh, I did. You were
So-
reaching into a bag. I told you to stop.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
So you overreact. I mean, this whole situation, you've been
Have
overreacting
you ever heard of react?
over the situation. What was it? Were you called, or are you
Action,
showing up?
reaction, you've heard that.
Were you called, or was this a part of a regular patrol? Yeah, no, it does.
After you
Was there-
confirm,
Was there a complaint?
Mr. Hines.
What's the complaint?
Mr. Hines. Are you
Kitzler?
going to let me talk?
What's the
Are you gonna
complaint,
let me
Kitzler?
talk?
I asked the question first, then you can talk. Okay, I'm giving.
Ask the question. How's everybody doing today? Nice to see you. This is Delete Laws. Welcome to Delete Laws, everybody. How are you? Do me a favor, put down in the comment section OTVO. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. I'm just getting myself back into decent shape here. And so I've been off for a minute. Press with Ranker's back. Good to see you, Press. Press has a trial coming up in Michigan. And there's a few things we got to talk about with Press with Ranker soon, but I just wanted to point something out here. So when these JBTPs walk up, put in the comment section for me, will you, JBTP? And then if anybody doesn't know what JBTP means, you guys can let them know what that acronym means. I'm trying to live a clean living life here, trying to make sure that my verbiage is electable material that I choose to use. So what does the cop want in his hand? What he wants a card in his hand. He wants a card that has your identification on it. And their initial push into the interaction with you is to overwhelm you and hurt you and have total dominion over you. They have him sitting on the concrete ground here. He was just parked in a parking lot. This is a fairly long video. So this is the reaction that they're doing to all of us. So he wants in his hand, he wants a copy of your identification. That's what he wants in his hand. I'm going to come right back to Travis's video, but I want to show just real quick insert here. And we're going to come, this is at 6 minutes and 12 seconds. We're going to come right back to Travis's video.
In an incident involving former Bronco Terrell Davis, just hours ago, his attorney released new video to CBS News Colorado. It shows the moment he was handcuffed and taken off a United Airlines flight. His team now tells me they intend to sue United, and they think this was racially motivated.
It's horrific, and United needs to be held accountable.
Parker Steiner is fighting for his client, former Bronco Terrell Davis.
He's beloved everywhere. He is just a wonderful man.
And he tells me the way Davis was treated by a United Airlines flight attendant was unjust.
We plan on filing a lawsuit in the next couple of weeks.
That incident involving the former star NFL running back happened earlier this month. He was on a United commercial flight from Denver to California. In this new video, you can see FBI agents leading Davis off the plane after that flight attendant claimed that Davis hit him. Davis says he lightly tapped the attendant to ask for a cup of ice for his son. He says that attendant shouted, "Don't hit me," then went off to another part of the plane. When that plane landed, this is what Davis recounted.
They come straight to me, and the agent walks up to me, and he leans over, whispers, "Don't fight it," and put the cuffs on me. And that moment, I felt all of my dignity. I felt powerless. I felt embarrassed. I felt like, what the hell is going on?
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to explain.
Steiner says Davis was compliant.
So I'm going to play this back. I want you to hear what he says. This is super important, and this is kind of what we're talking about.
I felt embarrassed. I felt like, what the hell is going on?
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to explain.
Steiner says Davis was compliant.
So that means that cops in America can just walk up to you and put you in torture cuffs. Torture cuffs are always torture. There's not a time that you put torture cuffs on somebody that they're not torture. For all the JBTPs watching this, if you don't know, put a 1 in the chat if torture cuffs are always torture. So if you didn't know, copper, if you didn't know, jail guard, if you didn't know, prison guard, if you didn't know, sheriff, torture cuffs are always torture. Immediate torture. And I mean, listen to what Terrell Davis says, and this is one of the most powerful running backs in NFL history.
Part of the plane. When that plane landed, this is what Davis recounted.
They come straight to me, and the agent walks up to me, and he leans over, whispers, "Don't fight it," and put the cuffs on me. And that moment, I felt all of my dignity. I felt powerless. I felt embarrassed. I felt like, what the hell is going on?
Exactly correct. And so when you take a look at Kuta Kente, this is exactly how they want us all to feel, as though we are slaves and that they are our masters. That's what they want. That's why is Kuta Kente so famous? A fictional African-American slave in the 18th century in the novel and adapted TV series called Roots, based on the character and his experience. Kuta Kente is also used as a derogatory name for Black people. You understand? This is, what does the name Kuta Kente mean? It's, you could just keep going, but you understand the point of what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is that the police in our country are better than us. They're above us. And they can just walk up to us and torture us at any second they want to. Torture cuffs have to be banned in America. Turn around and put your hands behind your back has got to come to a total and complete end. It has to end. We have to get rid of the whole entire torture cuff mentality. It has to happen. Everybody here has to bind together. Other auditors, other activists, we have to get rid of the torture cuffs and replace it with digital detainment. So I just want you guys to understand something here. These guys, when they are harassing you and they're going after you, and I put that here, and they're trying to arrest you for whatever they're trying to arrest you for, then that means, here it is, thanks, you can be put in torture cuffs right this second. The cop can walk up to you and say, "I think I'll put him in torture cuffs for my safety." The cop gets to torture us as they're asking you for your ID, violating your Fourth Amendment right. It has to change. It absolutely has to change. We must change it, and we must change it right away.
Have you ever heard of
Over the situation. What was it? Were you called or are you showing up?
You've heard that.
Were you called, or were you just part of a regular patrol? Yeah,
Okay, so there's the question he asked. We're going right back to where we were. Were you called, or is this just a regular interaction? Are you just doing this on patrol?
no, it does.
After you confirm,
Was there a complaint?
Mr. Hines.
What's the complaint?
Mr. Hines,
Kitzler?
are you going to let me talk?
What's the
Are you gonna
complaint,
let me
Kitzler?
talk?
I asked the question first, then you can talk. Okay, I'm giving you the opportunity
Bullshit,
to
dude.
talk
You've asked-
after I ask my question,
Then
Kitzler.
ask a question.
I did. Well, were you called, or what? Did you show up as a part of your patrol, Kitzler?
That's the second time he's asked.
Or your, either one you can ask, because you both use the same radio. All right, your and Kitzler, two jokers here.
So are you going to ask a question so I can answer it?
Did you hear it? I mean, what's so hard about
Go ahead.
what's so hard about answering it when I asked it?
You didn't ask
just
me a
have to
question.
keep
You've been running your mouth
Yeah.
since I asked you stuff.
Kitzler. You're playing mind games, okay?
Okay, so what's your
All
question?
right. I asked it twice, and then now you're gonna say that, and then I ask it a third time, Kitzler, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, did you ask your question again?"
No, what's
That's
your
crazy.
question?
You're playing some real mind games here, Kitzler.
Okay, what's your question?
What's the deal with you? All right. How long have you been working here? How long have you been on this police force?
Since February of 21.
And have you ever worked day shift? Or you only been night shift, Kitzler?
All different shifts.
Because you seem like a real night shift type of guy. I don't think you would survive. You do so well in day shift with the politicization going on, being in, the public's eye and all that. I don't know if you'd handle that very well. The way you treat me here, you don't seem like a very good guy who can handle all that
Are
public.
you okay with me taking a look through your car?
No, I'm not okay with that.
You did
Of
not.
course not. Why don't you run a dog around or something?
See, right there, he had a golden opportunity to jerk that cop around like a fish on a line, and he should have, because they're not treating him with respect and dignity. He should have hammered them right there. When he asked, "Can I search your car?" he should have told them, "Sure, go ahead." And the moment, because he is recording everything, it looks like he's wearing a body cam on his chest. And then the very moment that he says, "Okay, I'm going to search your car," and he goes to open the door, revoke consent. Open up your trifold, because he had enough time to get his body camera on. Open up his trifold and say, "I revoke consent." And this is in your trifold. It says, while filming, if you know the cop is going to search your car and you initially give consent, you can revoke that consent moments later. However, you must be unequivocal, clearly stating, "I gave consent and now I revoke consent. Stop searching my car." By law, if you give consent, you can revoke consent. It's in your trifold. I would have jerked this cop around and given him consent and then revoke consent the whole time he's got a body cam on, show the trifold to the camera, show it to the copper, and I would have owned his ass. And then I would have done a little touchdown dance right on his face, because that's what they want. They want to be in total control of everything that you are and you do. They want to be in control of you. And what you do when you give consent and then you revoke consent, you give the man the illusion that he has control over you, and then you snatch it away. And then you send me that video and we show it right here on Elite Laws. These guys, unfortunately. And so for all of the police officers in America, the majority of all of you, we believe, put a 1 in the chat if you think all cops are just like these cops. If you think 90% or more is just like these two JBTPs, put a 1 in the chat. And then you guys can just watch the live stream back and take a look at the live chat. And you can tell me, with the 350 people here, if they believe that you are a JBTP, if you are that. Most of us think that you are. Most of us believe that you are the bad guy. That's what we think. That's what a lot of us think. Put a 1 in the chat if you think cops are the bad guy. Put a 1 in the chat if you think the cops are the bad. So it's. I just want to be clear here. This is the majority of the crowd here saying that you are the bad guy. You're the bad element. You're the problem with our society. You're the problem with our culture. This police state, prison state, death state that you signed up for your money and your insurance and your paycheck and your overtime and it's all for you. You didn't sign up to serve or help anybody. You signed up to help yourself. That's just the simple fact. Thousands of people are putting 1 in the chat. If you're watching this next week, put a 1 in the chat if you think the cops are the nightmare, the terror, the darkness, the fear in our country. I'm just saying it out loud. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud. Like Kamala Harris denied men DNA evidence in prison after she convicted them and the DNA evidence could exonerate them. Don't say that. Trump is a giant cop sucker, does back the blue rallies, wants to indemnify all police. But don't say that. We don't get a choice. We can see it with the DNC. You're now voting for Kamala. What? Yeah. You're voting for Kamala. That's the new person. You are voting for her now. Why is that? Because that's the Democrat who's running for president. Did you get to choose that? Nope. We got cop sucker Trump or cop sucker Harris. Which cop sucker do you want to vote for? Trump wanted to fund police, and then Biden said, defund police. I'll Trump them. I will fund them 3 times more than Trump. And that's what he did. He gave them 3 times more money than Trumpster. Now we got another cop who's going to come in and run to be the president named Kamala. But vote for her because she's a woman and she's black. But vote for her, though, because of those reasons. Not because there's a video came out yesterday where she said that she wanted to institute the George Floyd police brutality reform bill. It's the first time we're hearing about this in a long time. George Floyd died back in 2020. It's 4 years later. Now you're talking about the George Floyd bill. This is the same thing. You have got to make sure that you stand on your rights, or these JBTPs will crawl all over you, all up inside you. He asked twice now, was this a part of regular patrol, or did someone call about me?
Any of you guys dog canine?
So we've got a
Kitzler,
canine
your? Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, you really get thorough about your work. Oh, there he is, right?
Oh.
You guys got to be real
Okay,
thorough.
so you said that you had a question. So what's your question?
Yeah, I asked you the question.
Are you going to ask it or not?
Well, what's your deal? I mean, you guys sound like you
I don't
got some
understand that
psychological problems. Did you just get done with something that's just traumatic for you? Was there something traumatic that happened before this that makes you overreacting?
There's been something going on with you. I see that you're living out of your car.
I'm
This is
shopping here.
something-
I'm a shopper. This is how you treat shoppers around here.
Right, you were sleeping.
You
in
guys
your
don't
car
respect
when I rolled up
anybody. I was just relaxing. This is a cart. I was gonna put my water in
Talked to
here.
a lot of people that sit in this lot
Yep.
overnight, and
No,
not
I
a
don't
single
think-
person has been parked over here that has been shopping. Okay?
Oh yeah.
It's pretty
Well,
simple.
what's this? This person not been shopping. They're clearly watching this whole time.
Okay.
You see the head bobbing. You're gonna go harass them next. You don't just make.
an idea.
You guys don't just make conversation. You make harassment and threats.
Then you can
That's.
file a
I mean,
complaint.
that's
The problem
that's how
was
you guys
your lack of
operate.
Following directions.
You
when the
guys don't-
contact started.
There's levels of identification and need to be involved. Okay, am I being detained?
Yes.
Okay, then this is a situation where I invoke my rights. I mean, you have an
I'm
investigation.
telling you.
We're not just doing a
I'm telling
conversation
you that
here.
I have reason to identify you.
Okay, and I have
So
reason.
I'm
I have to
asking
find
you-
out who you are.
I am asking
Kitzler.
you.
Told you.
Yeah, and I told you too.
No, you didn't.
You even
You
said
gave me
you
a
said
last
my
name
name.
and a first initial. I need your date of birth.
Well, what's your date of birth,
I
Kitzler?
am
Let's
not
hear
required
that.
to give that to you. I am
You
here in
guys,
a-
you
I
need
am
to
here in a
properly
legal
identify
capacity,
who you
Mr.
are.
Hines,
Okay, yeah, and I have rights.
And I have.
Okay, in
I
a
have
legal way, I have
every reason
rights.
to identify you right now.
Yeah, and also respect my rights in the same way. It's not just you're not just a soldier going full bore against the enemy.
No, I'm
Ready
operating
to-
under the Constitution, Wisconsin state law, and our policy and procedure.
Okay,
What a load of shit.
the enemy.
No, I'm
Ready
operating
to-
under the Constitution, Wisconsin state law, and our policy and procedure.
You're operating under your policy and procedure that we have had no input in. We haven't got to put any input in policy, procedure, and protocol of the cops. And that has to change. We have got to desperately change this system of oppression. It has got to be changed. This system of oppression must be changed. Period. I watch these videos every single day. It's absolute and total oppression from the beginning. This is at 9 minutes and 46 seconds.
Stay with your hands behind your back.
They're waking him up. He's asleep in a car.
Do you have any weapons on you?
Why are you bothering the guy who's asleep in a car?
What do you have in your pockets?
Why are you walking up to me asleep in a car and asking me what I have in my pockets?
Separate your feet. Separate your feet. Separate your feet. Sure. All right, where's your ID?
What's the crime on Where's your ID?
What am I on? It's a second over
Where's your ID? Okay, you're gonna take a seat right here, okay?
Oh, sure, okay.
Take a seat.
Yeah, all right.
Here's what's gonna happen.
Wow.
Okay?
Here's what's going to happen, okay? It is such a dog shit oppressive system. You got to have the card in your wallet. You say, let me get my card out of my wallet. You say, you want to see my ID? Okay, number 4 on here says, cop demands ID, says he has reasonable articulable suspicion. While filming, state, I plead the 5th Amendment. I identify as good citizen. No IDs required. Even with reasonable articulable suspicion, Hibble versus Nevada, a Supreme Court case says citizens must state how they ID, not give ID without probable cause. Every single person should have this card in your wallet. This JBTP wants a card. He wants some sort of card. So when you tell him, hold on, let me grab my card out of my wallet, you open it up, go right to number 4 because he's demanding ID. It's number 4. 1 through 3 is on this side if you're the non-driver. Cop cited, you start filming. Number 2, cop approaches and says, any words to you at all? You say, I invoke my 5th Amendment right. Cop asks you to exit the vehicle. They've already got him outside of the vehicle. Number 4, cop asks you for your ID, says he has reasonable articulable suspicion. While filming, you state, I plead the 5th Amendment. I identify as good citizen. No ID is required. There it is right there. You have to have the card to give to him. That's what he wants. He wants a card. He needs to see your card. Well, here's a card. I got it from Delete Laws. I'm filming this entire interaction because if you violate my 4th Amendment right, we're going to sue you together. We're going to sue you is what's going to happen. It's just fine, but you're going to go, when people look up your name on the internet, you'll be listed in a federal civil rights lawsuit and that you violated somebody's rights. And as you know, every time any kind of paperwork is created and put on the internet, there'll be a small percentage of people, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you claim you didn't do anything wrong, there'll be a small percentage of people within your family and friends and people who love you that will believe that you did something wrong. Remember, I just went to jail for 4 months for no reason for filming a cop. You have to hire the best possible lawyer there is, top notch. If you in any way, shape, or form don't hire the best lawyer you can, you're going to end up in the dungeon just like I did. I hired a low range, medium range lawyer, and I ended up getting cooked. You have to have a card in your pocket. And these guys are treating him like such shit. It's so unbelievable.
Okay, in a legal way, I have rights
to identify you right now.
Yeah, and also respect my rights in the same way. It's not just you're not just a soldier going full bore against the enemy.
Nope, I'm
ready
to the Constitution, Wisconsin state law, and our policy and procedure.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you're not. You're pushing it a little further beyond what your limits are.
No,
Okay.
sir.
You have certain limits within your constitutional procedures. Okay. All right, and you're pushing that a little beyond.
No, I'm not.
Well, if you think you're not, I mean,
if you have an issue with how I conduct my police work, you can file a complaint, or you can argue about it.
Well, I'm telling.
Right now, I'm telling.
And who are you complaining to? Who are you filing that complaint with? You're filing. So, Michael Eline's in the room here. Him and BZ Watchdog are doing a deep dive on this citizen review board in Las Vegas. We got 10 of the cases already. 10 out of 10, the police hostility, the police violence was justified. 10 out of 10. Well, Michael said there's 600 cases and 99% of them are all justified. I mean, is it even 6 cases? Is it even 6 cases? I mean, do we have 6 out of 600? Is it 1%? I don't think it is. So you have to now go to the same people, and complain to them. It's just so unbelievable. The system has to be changed. This system has to be changed. And the only way that I can see that the system can be changed is leadership from within government. Just so you know, I've never wanted to be a politician. It wasn't on my radar. I talked about it years and years ago, what it would be like to be a US senator. But eventually I figured out you have to get to executive power. But I didn't plan on running for office. It hasn't been in the back of I'm going to run for office. No, I don't necessarily want to be a politician, but this system of oppression must be changed. It has to be changed. This won't work. This doesn't work long-term for the American people.
Telling you that you're required to identify yourself.
I'm telling you, there's a balance with what you're doing. Okay, we have constitutional rights as well.
And what right has been violated here?
Well,
tell me which constitutional right.
There's a little bit of that cruel and unusual behavior going on that you guys.
Cruel and unusual punishment, right?
It's that you're pushing the limits with. Okay.
So again, I asked. What right is being violated?
What right is being violated?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with the 4th. Okay.
Okay.
Now, do you know what the 4th Amendment is?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
So let's talk about what Jeff said here. You're required to identify yourself. No, you're not, Jeff. You're only required to identify yourself if you're going to be charged with a crime. The first step of being trespassed from that parking lot is he has to get a verbal warning to be moved. He doesn't have to give ID, Jeff. He doesn't. That's our constitutional right. The 4th Amendment is, they just said, you know, the 4th Amendment. The 4th Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation of the victim. That's what the 4th Amendment says, Jeff. That's what it says. So you don't have to give ID. The reason why I created the 5th Amendment cop card is because these individuals who sign up to this organization, they don't know the law. You have to have it on a card and show it to them. The law is in the navy blue. So it's Hibble versus Nevada 6th Judicial Court or something like that. With reasonable articulable suspicion, Hibble versus Nevada says citizen must state how they ID, not give ID without probable cause. So far, Travis hasn't broken any law. And the only thing they could do is say that we're trespassing you, so you have to leave the parking lot. But that would, again, not require identification. You have to get a verbal warning to be trespassed. And then he has a chance to leave without showing ID. I mean, this is the reason why I explained to you. You have to have the literature on a piece of paper or on a card. I don't care if you type up your own piece of paper, but you have to have it. You have to say, 5th Amendment, I invoke the right to remain silent. Cop says, let me see some ID. You say, actually, here's my card. You wanted my ID? This is the ID I'm going to give you. This is the non-driver card. Cop demands ID, says he has RAS. While filming, I plead the 5th Amendment, identify as good citizen. That's the whole point. It's the whole reason. It's frustrating because there are people, and Jeff's probably a great guy. I don't know him, but first time I've seen you in here, Jeff. But the point is that, yeah, no, I don't have anything against Jeff. I know he's cool. What I'm saying is I just want people to understand you don't have to give your ID unless you have broken the law. Unless you have broken the law, you know, and that's truly. One Chance says he wants a shout out. It's been 8 months since you did a shout out for me when you went to the DMV in Pennsylvania. Okay, what's going on? Everybody, this is One Chance. Everybody say hello to One Chance. So this is what I'm talking about. You have to have the literature on you. You have to wield your camera like you're a ninja warrior. You have to do it right.
They're all good, huh? Check them all out, because you're out here as a security patrol. Are you getting a little kickback with this extra duty you're doing? They don't even need to hire a security guard. They got you bullies to come here and harass us.
So,
all right.
You're not from the area.
I assume that you're getting a little kickback from woodsmen for doing this kind of bully tactic.
My bad, Jeff, for misunderstanding you.
Against
not
us.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, why are you performing private security for a business?
This is a public parking lot.
Okay, were you called, or are you just doing regular patrol? Is this a regular patrol? Because if it's regular patrol, you're doing private security for a private business.
In a public parking lot.
Oh, this is public. The city owns this.
No, I didn't say that. But it's open to the public.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there was no barriers to entry.
That's correct.
It's 24 hours, so we could shop any time of the day.
The amount of drugs and the amount of warrants.
Woodman sells drugs? Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. You're protecting the drug dealers?
How in the world would that make any sense?
So well, I mean, why are you harassing me in a private business? And
I'm so sorry. What did he say?
Drugs? Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. You're protecting the drug dealers?
How in the world would that make any sense?
So,
oh, well, actually, that is a complete and utter fact that the cops are protecting the drug dealers. You can read it in the Mullen Commission. If you go to deletelaws.com with a Z, you can get a copy of the Mullen Commission. And when you read just the simple index in the beginning, it'll show you, it says cops as drug dealers, cops as being the muscle for drug dealers. Go to deletelaws.com and read the Mullen Commission. It says plain as day that cops do protect drug dealers, that cops are drug dealers. That's what it says. That's what it says. That's what it says in the Mullen Commission. So I don't know what this copper is talking about. Cops are drug dealers. Cops do perform the muscle and the enforcement for drug dealers. This has been happening since the 80s that we know of for a fact. So what are you talking about? There's testimony from cops who have said that cops are drug dealers and that cops are the muscle for drug dealers. Cops open up avenues for drug dealers to do their business. This is in the Mullen Commission. It's free. It's free. It's on deletelaws.com. You can get it yourself. So I don't know how this copper here doesn't know the facts. I guess he just cherry picks facts that he likes.
Well, I mean, why are you harassing me in a private business and claiming that you're not private security?
Because
you're working for the city.
Woodman's does not want people camping in their parking lot.
Okay.
But he's not a security guard for Woodsman's. He's supposed to be a rights protector, a peace officer.
It's illegal to camp anywhere inside the village of Howard.
What's your contract?
Travis,
what contract do you have with the business about this?
There's no contract, so
you didn't sign. There's no signed contract between you and the business.
And it could have just been a simple warning, like, "Hey, you can't park here, you can't camp here." But
well, no, you push it.
Escalate it.
No, I was just sitting and minding my own business. You guys escalated the whole thing. That's why I'm sitting here. I didn't come over here and.
Yep, and you're violating an ordinance.
And Kidman. All right. So what's the deal? We all just gonna pick on me? I'm the only one here who's got to get picked on. There's like 50 other cars here. Yep. I'm the guy who's got to get picked on because you guys got this God complex.
I'm sorry you feel that way
about this whole thing. And
no. So this is the line that a lot of cops are using now. They're using the line, and I'll let you hear it.
It's got this God complex.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
So put a 1 in the chat if you think cops have God complexes. Let me put a 1 for me right here real quick. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like cops have some sort of God complex, that they are the authority, that they are your daddy, that they're your boss. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like the cops have a God complex, or that we've given them too much power, too much unchecked power. And that's the world that we're living in right now. We're living in this disgusting police state, prison state, where if the judge doesn't like you, she can just put you in jail for months on end. And there's meeting after meeting with lawyer after lawyer after lawyer. I don't know if we're going to get that dirty, filthy judge, Ann Zimmerman. I don't know if we're going to get her. I'm going to get her through the media. She thinks she's going to retire in January and move to Florida or Minnesota. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. Wherever Ann Zimmerman moves to, I will target media in her area to let the people in her area know what she did, that she's the dirty, disgusting, corrupt judge who put me in jail for filming a cop. I'm a member of the press. I'm allowed to put Facebook ads up in any zip code I want in the country. I've talked to half a dozen lawyers. Ann Zimmerman, the dirty, corrupt, biased judge who put me in jail, there's almost, not good news so far from lawyers who are constitutional law scholars, who are civil rights attorneys. Not a lot of great news on what how accountable Ann Zimmerman can be held. Now, for violating my Fourth Amendment, that's something different. But again, we're going to lose in district court. We may get to circuit court, may get to an en banc panel, and then we have to appeal to the Supreme Court. I don't know. We're going to find out, though. We're going to find out
about this whole thing. And I mean, you look. Let's hear your date of birth, and I'll tell you mine.
I am not required to give that to you. You are required to give it to me right now.
No, you don't know how the law works with that, then, because there's a minimum with that.
I'm not educated, and you're the one living out of your car.
No, you're not. Oh, that's how you look at it. You consider.
I do this.
You consider education levels have to do with your income status.
No.
It's directly related.
I do this.
Income
every single day.
Every single night. You're a night shift worker.
Every day he oppresses people. Every day he harasses people. Every day he walks on people as though he is God.
Okay, you're definitely not qualified to work the day shift. With this attitude, both of you guys, the way you work, no way. I don't believe that you worked in the day shift at all. You've ever worked the day shift.
Okay.
With that type of attitude. What's your phone number? What kind of questions?
What's your date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
No.
No, it's
when people identify, I mean, you have to give your social. Do I have to give my social number? My minimum for identification.
Reasonable suspicion.
No. When people identify, I mean, you have to give your social.
What's your date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
No.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Reasonable suspicion comes from the 1968 case called Terry versus Ohio, OTVO, overturned Terry versus Ohio. You could put it in the comment section. OTVO, overturned Terry versus Ohio, because he's saying the minimum requirement to get your ID is reasonable suspicion. No, that is not true. There is a Fourth Amendment standard of an unreasonable search or seizure of your ID unless there's probable cause to arrest you. The cop is sitting here. He doesn't know the law. It's on your trifold. It's on your Fifth Amendment cop cards, driver and non-driver. It's on both, that you have a Fourth Amendment right not to give ID if you haven't done probable cause. You haven't broken the law. Now they have probable cause to believe. The Supreme Court, sadly, the white supremacist, racist Supreme Court, since the beginning of our time, since the very beginning, we have installed white supremacists on the Supreme Court. Sorry, I'm pretty conservative, as you guys know. Not everything's racist. The Supreme Court that created these legislation from the bench, they are the ones who have appointed white supremacists and members of the KKK since the beginning. And so the idea that we don't have a Fourth Amendment right to be free of unreasonable searches and seizures, and that's now been lowered down to reasonable suspicion. Your ID still exists up in the Fourth Amendment. You having to give your ID to one of these dirty JBTPs, that is only required if there's probable cause, not reasonable suspicion. Listen to this.
People for identification.
Reasonable suspicion.
No.
A
What's your
question.
date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
No. No.
A
What's your
question.
date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It is not. The standard to get your ID is 100%, 100,000% probable cause. That's the standard to get your ID and nothing less. But this dumb cop, this knuckle dragging beta male, low IQ loser, who the only thing he can do is take orders and hurt people. This guy is saying, what's the minimum to get your ID?
What's your date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
It is not, you dumb, stupid cop. You fucking moron. You fucking moron. That is not the minimum standard to get your ID. That is not the minimum standard to get your ID. You stupid moron. You low-level piece of fucking trash. You're lying to a man who his entire channel is called Let's Exchange IDs with Travis Hines. And you're going to sit there and you're going to lie. You dirty JBTP. Put it in the chat, you mother-sucking piece of... you're such a piece of... You are a gigantic, steaming piece of dog. Period. You're the worst of all human beings. You're the lowest level of scum there is in this country. Because all we have in America are our rights. We don't have anything else. None of us are multimillionaires. If there's one in the crowd, great. I'm super happy for you. None of us are living on yachts. None of us have access to send our kids to this school and that school. And this. Some people do well. I'm happy for you. 90% of America struggles to put food on the table, to pay their rent, to pay their electric bill, to pay their cell phone bill. All we have are our rights. That's it. This disgusting, nasty, putrid, devil-ridden soul, he is the nightmare in the night. It's the night right here. He's trying to hem up Travis Hines and say,
What's your date of birth?
What's the minimum for identification?
Reasonable suspicion.
you son of a, you piece of, you mother, I honestly, bro, honestly, what kind of human being are you? If it doesn't piss you off, you're not alive. He's sitting there standing over a man. He's got a flashlight in the guy's face. He's made him sit on the ground. And now he's lying and saying, the minimum for me to get your identification to seize your property is reasonable suspicion. And that makes my blood boil. It makes my blood boil. So be it.
No. When people identify, I mean, you have to give your social. Do I have to give my social number, my social security?
For the spelling of your first name, middle name, last name,
Yep.
and your date of birth.
Yeah, and it sounds like we've shared that already. We're
Nope.
past that.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, we're past
No, you haven't.
that identification part
Nope.
of the
So spell your
process.
last name.
Okay, and once again, I'm trying to spell your and Kidman.
What's your last name?
Was that what I have right? And you got an ID right there. Whose ID is that? It's Kid.
Not your business.
Kid.
What's your last
Kid,
name?
not my business. Kidman, was it?
What's your last name?
And we're waiting on the.
McKenna.
Oh. All right. Well, it's sure. I'm the last. It's Heinz, like the ketchup bottle.
Okay. Spell that for me.
It's a Heinze.
Go ahead. And your first name.
Yeah. Like you said, you guys said it
what's your
earlier.
first
Travis. You guys said it earlier. It's Travis.
And your middle name.
Okay, let's hear your middle name.
I'm not required.
See, it's rules and laws for thee, but not for me. That's the entire problem with this system, is that there's two standards. A standard that a lot of people believe that only bad people sign up to be cops. Put a 1 in the chat if you're in that particular section. If you believe that you genuinely have to be a pretty shitty person to sign up to be a cop, put a 1 in the chat if you think that, if you feel that way. So, I mean, I got to put a 1 for myself. Why would you sign up to be a cop? Why would you sign up to do that? Unless you know, unless you're trying to compensate for something, you're trying to overcome something. It's just that simple. Cops don't become psychopaths. Psychopaths become cops. So, I mean, for the coppers who can run this stuff back, take a look. There's a lot of 1s here. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud that other people don't say. That most of us have zero respect for cops. Zero. That when we see you, we think there's scum in front of us. That's how most of us feel. In this room anyway. I would say of society, I would say at least 50% of people feel exactly as I'm saying, but they don't say the quiet part out loud because they're afraid their family, their friends, their church, their school, their mentors, they're afraid that those people will judge them. They're so afraid that those people will judge them. Well, you can judge me all you want. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud. The policies, procedures, and protocols that you dirty cop, that you signed up to do are brutal, inhumane, and barbaric. There it is. How do we know that? How do we know that? Well, once you tell somebody to lay on the ground, once you get them on the ground, how does that go for people? How does it go?
Oh, shit! Oh, move up! Oh, shit! Oh, move up!
Got the guy on the ground. Got the guy on the ground. Has control of the guy. There's a woman right there. She's got her hands on the man who's being thrown on the ground. And he just wound up and kicked, and now he stomps on the guy's head. He stomped on the man's head. So the guy's on the ground. He's completely on the ground. The guy's dangling his radio right here. And then he kicks the guy in the face. And he stomps on the back of his head. Oh, but quick. YouTube, come flying in quick. Restrict my video. Demonetize it. Hurt me for showing what these disgusting maggots are doing to people around the world. And this form of policing was taught by the Israelis and the Americans. This form of policing where you have to lay on your belly like you're a POW in a domestic country was taught by the American and Israeli police forces. This is what we're seeing day in and day out, day in and day out. One of my friends asked me the other day and said, Hey, Chili, do you have enough content to show police videos? I said, man, there's so much content right now on my StreamYard. I've got 15 tabs open. I'm not going to get to show you all of the videos that have come in that people have emailed me just in the past 24 hours. There's too many. And look, I mean, just look, it's the most disgusting. It's the most depraved. Like this is how we are treated by these dirty jackboot thug. He's down. This guy has to kick his leg back to kick him right in the face. But he's not done yet. Look at the horrified look on this woman's face. Shit. Stomps on the back of his head. Oh, I'm so sorry. We skipped part of that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to skip part of that. Oh, shit. Stomp. And now watch this knee right over here. Watch this knee right here. Watch how hard this guy weighs about 100 pounds, the guy on the ground. Look at his tiny little legs. My forearms are bigger than the guy's legs. Wait, look at that. Knee strike. Did you see it? Everybody can see it, right? Everybody can see the knee strike. There it was right there. He did a knee strike right there at the end just to really hurt the guy. Just to really hurt him. You know, you already kicked him in the face. You already stomped on the back of his head. And now, you know what we should do? Let me do a knee strike to the guy's ribs. Maybe break a rib or two, or at least separate a rib. Maybe pop some cartilage. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's pop some cartilage real quick. Let's hurt this guy. Let's really put him in the hurt bag. What do you mean put him in the hurt bag? So let's take a look at the guy. The guy literally weighs about 100 pounds. He's not a big dude. The cops got him. The woman's got him. He's got him at taser point. Okay, so he's all secured. Not moving. Hand down by side. Face is facing down. Woman covered with her head. She's on top of him. He has to rear his leg back. Kicks the guy right in the face. Stomps him on top of the head. Now watch this left knee right here. Oh. Oh, dude. Move back, move back. Stop kicking people. You don't cover it. Oh, shit. And look at the filthy pig. After he's already stomped, kicked, and knee dropped the guy, then when we roll back just a little bit, he's hovering around the guy like, look, he's just... no attempt to detain him, no attempt to do anything to him. He just wanted to kick him, stomp him, and knee him. You don't cover it. At this. What a disgusting maggot. I mean, look at this guy walking around like he's constipated. Look at him. He's walking around like he's constipated, just pointing his taser. And look at this psycho chick. Shit, leave him. Move back. She's a mess. Take a look at this one. She's a mess. So you see the guy over there put his hands on his head. He's freaking out because the cops are beating on people. Now watch this copper right here. Watch this pigtail right here. Watch her. Shit. Everybody stay back. She's screaming. She's 5 foot tall, 98 cents. Shit. Leave him. Oh, I'm stressed out. I shouldn't be in this position. Women should not be in a physical charge of men. Look at her. She's a mess. Whoa. I didn't get to this part. I just got to the head stomp. He's just sitting on a bench. Do you see it? He's just sitting there. He's doing nothing. Shit, leave him. Okay, there's the guy. He's sitting down. You can see him right over here. He's just sitting down, trying to calm everybody down. He's waving his hands. Everybody stop. Now, this psycho cop who's already stomped, kicked, and kneed somebody, this poor woman, look at her. She's just a mess, hand on her head. He starts screaming at him. He puts his hands back. Hey, I'm not doing anything. Get down on the ground, on your knees, on your belly. Do you understand? Do you understand why I have to go into government? Why I have to become a legislator? Do you understand why? Because get on your knees, get on your belly. I'm going to put these torture cuffs on you. You are my subject. I am the master. That's going to continue until one of us gets into government. I've read the history of the presidents, of the U.S. senators, of the Supreme Court justices since the inception of America. They all die young. Unless they retire in their 60s, then they live to be in their 80s, sometimes even 90. But of the percentage that retire, it's less than 10%. Me going into government means that there's a very good chance that I die in my 60s or 70s. Very good chance. Extraordinarily good chance. But somebody has to do something about this. And what happens here spreads around the world. I'm going to change the badge from a 5-star slave catcher badge or a 6-star or a 7-point star slave catcher badge to a peace symbol. The uniforms are going to go from black and blue to white and yellow with a big peace symbol on it with their name and their badge number on the front and the back. I'm going to change the entire system from top to bottom. We are going to change the entire system from top to bottom. So he goes over and yells at this guy to get on the ground. The guy's willing to get on the ground. So he's telling him, get on the ground. He's screaming, get on the ground, like a psycho pig. And that's what he's doing. And he's going to stomp him anyway. Look, he's going to stomp him. He's got his leg up to stomp him. For what? He's complying. You told him to get on the ground. He's getting on the ground. You told him to get on the ground. He's getting on the ground. He stomps him. And then he beats him. Did you see this? I didn't see this part, to be honest. I didn't get past that first stomping. Kicks him. Hits him in the back of the head with the butt of the taser. Oh my God. I wish there was a way to reach out to this. And then this copper here drops a knee on the person who's just laying on the ground. See the guy in the blue that originally got head stomped? Kick stomp. Now watch this one right here. He's going to drop a knee in the guy's back. Did you see that? She lifted up her knee. That dirty pig. She lifted up her knee to spear the guy in the back who's not fighting in any way, not trying to run away in any way. Watch this pigtail. This is a chick, I'm pretty sure. She brings her leg up and strikes him. What kind of dog system is this? And the kid looks at her and says, what are you doing? And now this guy comes and drops the knee in the middle of his back. For what? Oh, man. Oh, man. But don't call them pigs. But don't call them pigs. Don't you call them pigs, though. Chili, why you call cops pigs? How come you call cops pigs? Why would you call us pigs? Why would you say that we're all pigs? Show me the good cop on the scene. Show me the good cop on the scene.
Oh, shit!
Okay, kicked him in the face, stomped him. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cops around. The guy back in the back is sitting in the back. You see him back there? He's just chilling back there, got his arm on the bench. He hasn't been involved at all. He's got both of his hands on top of his head back here. There's at least 4 or 5 cops on the scene. Who's the good cop? Which one is not the pig? She's macing people. Was that a mace stream? Was that just a stream of mace? Yeah, that was mace. That was mace. You saw that little stream of... There it is. You just saw it. I can't pause it in the nick of time here. There it is right there. You can see it. There's a stream of mace. She's actively shooting mace at people. That's you guys can see that, right? But don't call them pigs. Whatever you do, don't call them pigs. Chili, why would you say there are some good police officers, Chili? Why would you call them pigs? Well, show me the good one here. There's at least 5 of them on the scene. Show me a good one. Show me which one is the good one. I'm not sure which the good one is. But don't call them pigs. Don't you call them pigs. Don't call them pigs. Why would you call them pigs? Why would you group all police in together? Isn't there 5 cops? Isn't there 5 cops on the scene right here? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I've counted so far. Anybody count less or more? And then she's shooting mace at somebody right there. That is a string of mace. You can see the string coming out.
Stop kicking people.
I think it's funny how just completely out of sorts she is. When they come back around on her, watch, he walks away to the wall, but then watch when you come back on the pigtail. she's a mess, man. She maced people. She's got her hand on her radio. She's
Kicking people.
look, she's a mace. She's a mess.
You're on camera.
She's choking on her own mace.
Oh, shit. Shit, leave him. Move back. Shut up.
He didn't do anything. He already was sitting down. He had his hands on the top of his head when we first showed the video. Kicks him, stomps him. The other cop comes in here and drops a knee on the guy. Look, he dropped a knee. You can barely see it, but he does it. You can see that copper. Don't call him pig, though. And this guy's going to drop a knee. There it is. He did a jump drop. She does a knee strike.
Move back. Move back. Move back.
He drops a knee.
Oi, shut up. Move back.
So but the coppers are mad at me. The coppers, all you coppers are so mad because Chili calls them pigs. Millions of people watch his videos. So he's the bad guy. It's blame Chili. He calls us pigs. He says that we're pigs. So he's the bad person. I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you think these guys are pigs. Or put the word pig in the chat if you think these guys are pigs. Hey, coppers, don't blame me. Blame yourselves. Take a look at what you allow to be perpetuated right in front of you. You guys are the dirty jackboot thug pigs. I'm sorry. I wish I could see it a different way, but the videos I watch lead me to the conclusion that this is a systemic problem that goes through all of law enforcement from the top to the bottom. The fact that you call yourselves law enforcers is a big, huge problem for me because you're peace officers who are meant to uphold the rights of individual Americans in this country and around the world. The only reason you have a police force is to uphold the rights of citizens of that country. This comes directly from Spirit of Laws, written by Charles de Montesquieu. He wrote this. These are not my words. Montesquieu was way smarter than me, obviously, way smarter than 99% of us. He said the only reason we have laws is so that our rights are protected. And the only policing force that we should have to deal with are those people put in charge of maintaining and upholding our rights. I mean, you guys can see it here yourselves. I didn't do this. This isn't my fault. You're mad at me. I'm just stomp. Let me just show you where the video is real quick. There it is, right there. There it is. You're seeing it right there. And so I have to believe that this is a systemic problem that goes through all of policing in America. That's what I believe. And as long as cops can run up to you and say, I'm suspicious of you, so I'm going to arrest you, well, then there's the problem right there. If the first action is that the cop can torture you, well, then we got a problem. We got a big problem, right? We got a huge problem. If the very first step is the cops can run up and torture cuff you, then that...
Terrell Davis was put in handcuffs by FBI and law enforcement agents on a United Airlines flight. The video was taken approximately 10 rows behind the former professional football player. In a statement on Instagram, Davis says he lightly tapped a flight attendant on the shoulder to ask for a cup of ice for his son. The flight attendant then said, "Don't hit me," and ran to the front of the plane, according to Davis. Davis says the two did not interact for the rest of the flight, but once they landed, he was escorted off the plane in front of his wife and children. He described the moment he was approached by agents to CNN's Aaron Burnett.
The gentleman leans over. He has a big FBI on his jacket, and he leans over and he's got handcuffs. And I'm looking at him, and he says, "Don't fight it. Don't fight it." And he puts the cuffs on me.
And your boys are there.
And my boys are there, and my daughter's there, my wife is there. And it's like, I felt so, I was stripped of my dignity. You know, I was powerless. I couldn't do anything.
And your boys are there.
And my boys are there, and my daughter fight it. And he puts the cuffs on me.
And your boys are there.
And my boy, and he says, don't fight it. Don't fight
The cop says, don't fight it. Don't fight it. You just have to be put in torture cuffs. So, I mean, let me just see from you guys. Putting somebody in torture cuffs demoralizes you as a person. Is that true? Put a 1 in the chat if you being put in torture cuffs is demoralizing. I just want to know if it's humiliating, demoralizing, if it's a degradation of you as a person, if cops get to put you in cuffs when you're no danger to anybody else. See, the entire point, and someone chimed in earlier and said, "Oh, I disagree with you about handcuffs." I didn't entertain the comment because, well, how many times have you been put in torture cuffs, buddy? How many times have cops walked up to you and said, "I'm going to put you in cuffs, don't fight it." Don't fight it. You're just one man wearing a piece of metal on your chest that makes you think that you're better than me. I'm no danger to society. It's demoralizing. It's humiliating. It's dehumanizing. That's what it is. Lezo TVO just gave away 10 memberships to people. Thanks, Lezo TVO. You can see it happening. This guy is a stand-up dude. He played on the Denver Broncos, scored a bunch of touchdowns, helped John Elway win 2 Super Bowls. I used to watch football. I don't really watch sports anymore. But this guy has never been in any kind of trouble that I know of. But when you allow one person to put torture cuffs on another person, you're dehumanizing that person. Torture cuffs are always torture. I don't care how light you think you're putting them on.
fight it. And he puts the cuffs on me.
And your boys are there.
And my boys are there. And
So he puts the cuffs on in front of his sons. So what does that mean? That your dad has no power, that this can happen to him even though he's not a danger to anybody else. The only reason somebody should be physically restrained is if they are a danger to themselves or to others. And that's the legislation that has to be passed in California, Nevada, Ohio, Florida, New York. The only times you can be put in torture cuffs is if you're an absolute danger to yourself or to others. I don't know of any way to get that through without going into government myself. I don't know of any other way to change it. If you guys have suggestions, then I would love to hear how we change it without someone who's actually in the government writing the legislation and fighting to change this bullshit, oppressive police state, prison state, death state. He's complaining that he's being treated like Kuta Kente in front of his sons. Chains, slave cuffs were created for slaves. The exact same cuffs that Terrell Davis was put in a short time ago were created for Kuta Kente. Whether I like it or not, no matter if I carry a gun with me all the time and I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, doesn't matter if I'm conservative or if I'm liberal, if I'm Republican or I'm Democrat. Torture cuffs were created for slavery. The same torture cuffs they created for slaves are the same torture cuffs they're using today. Whether I like it or not, I wish I could undo it and say it wasn't created for black people to put them in chains. I wish I could change it. As a strong liberal conservative, which is what I am, I'm a strong liberal conservative. I wish it wasn't based on slavery. I swear to Jesus, I wish it was not based on slavery. But it is. The torture cuffs were created for slaves. They were created by the Delaware colony to make sure the South Carolina and North Atlantic slave trade would be able to use chains instead of ropes. The same slave cuffs that they created back in the 17th century are the same slave cuffs they're using today. I wish that wasn't true. I've been searching for an identity, trying to explain my political leanings. I'm a liberal conservative. I'm a conservative liberal. I don't know how to put it in the proper nomenclature because today they've demonized the word conservative and they've demonized the word liberal. I'm both. Easily both. Easily. And look how embarrassed this man is that he was put in torture cuffs in front of his children.
Aaron Burnett.
The gentleman leans over. He has a big FBI on his shirt, on his jacket, and he leans over and he's got handcuffs. And I'm looking at him, and he says, "Don't fight it. Don't fight it." And he puts the cuffs on me.
And your boys are there.
And my boys are there, and my daughter's there, my wife is there, and it's like I felt so. I was stripped of my dignity. You know, I was powerless. I couldn't do anything. I'm wondering what's going on. They didn't ask me any questions. I had no chance to even explain what happened, if anything happened. Because they told me later, this is why they responded the way they responded, that I struck him.
United Airlines.
Okay, let's say it's true. Let's go with the bullshit story that the flight attendant told the FBI, that he struck him, okay? Violent people have to be restrained properly. I'm not stupid. If you're going to hurt other people, I think you should be restrained in some way. Absolutely. But he wasn't violent at that time. If you and I, let's say that Kevin Brzezinski and I, we have a fist fight. I would never punch you, Kevin, but I'm just saying, say we have a fist fight and we bloody each other's lip, and I got a bloody lip and Kevin's got a bloody lip. And the coppers show up. The cop says to you, "Hey, you're on camera. You got to go to the hospital and we got to talk about the charges against you for assaulting Kevin. Do you want to come with us? Or do we got to put chains on you?" Why isn't that? I just don't. Why? It's so frustrating. Why isn't that the policy that we only put people in chains who are violent? Who are violent? Thanks, Stacy. I'm not back yet. My face has finally got back down to size. My face was as big as a watermelon for a few weeks there. I guess I've been out for almost 2 weeks. It was just so horrible. It was just such a horrible. It just. I missed the conversation, Wanda. Sorry, I missed it. Let's keep listening here.
Says it has reached out to Davis's team to apologize. The flight attendant has been removed from duty while the incident is being reviewed. The FBI's Los Angeles field office acknowledged that they had detained a passenger at the John Wayne Airport and subsequently let them go, but would not confirm it was Davis specifically, citing agency rules.
One of the things that I can share here today.
I'm not getting into this political garbage. Sorry. Not doing it. It's just so unbelievable to me that you and I have allowed this to happen. There's Drophead. What's up, Drophead? What's up, Playboy? Drophead supported me when I was in the dungeon, along with a bunch of the other ones, but I talked to Drophead on the phone a few times, and Les OTVO and Danelle and Melissa, and there's just so many people, and Alan, and there's so many people who supported me while I was in the dungeon. And it was I got your emails, Rebel. I'll take a look at your emails. It's just so unbelievable to me how many people supported me when I was locked in that dungeon. It was really, really horrible. It was a really horrible experience. So here's one. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I got to do. Okay. So I want to give some trifolds away. That's what I want to do right now. I want to give away 5 trifolds. So I need to sell 5 trifolds to give away 5 trifolds. So who needs a trifold for free? Put a 1 in the chat. If you can't afford one of these trifolds right now, they're $25. If you can't afford one, put a 1 in the chat. And then I'm going to check my email. Okay, so Jeff can't afford a trifold. Okay, got you, man. I got you. I see that. So Jeff wants a trifold. I'm going to give away 5 trifolds. I've got to sell 5 trifolds. So if you don't have a trifold, then you need to get one. It looks like this. You put it up in your visor. You put it up in your visor with this broccoli wad rubber band. Stick it up in your visor just like this. Then when the cop pulls you over, you immediately give him your license, registration, and proof of insurance, which all should be on a laminated card. just like this. Should be just like this. You should have this bad chicken all laid out right here. So I got Jeff. Jeff, you got to shoot me an email. Okay, so Flatback needs one. He can't afford one either. I got to sell 5 to give away 5. I have to keep it going. I got to keep it going. I got to keep it going. Make a little bit, give a little bit, make a little bit, give a little bit, make a little bit. That's what I have to do. So Gary, go to deletelaws.com. Go to deletelaws.com with a Z and you can get a trifold. Gary, I'm also going to give you a pair of cop cards for free. And instead of giving you an extra trifold, Gary, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an extra trifold to Flatback. That's what I'm going to do. I usually would give you 2 trifolds, but I'm going to give you 1 and I'm going to give you a pair of cop cards for Gary. And then I'm going to give away 5 trifolds to 5 people in here. Go to deletelaws.com. Let me see. Oh, Donnell Brown. Donnell Brown was another one of those people that supported me when I was in jail. And I want to say thank you, Donnell. I appreciate that. I really do. Checking my books and seeing that you put some money on my books because you don't have any power. I can't put money on my own books. I cannot put money on my own books when I was in jail. I can't buy myself gift packages. People had to buy me gift packages and send them to me. So let me know. Let me see. Let me know who's going to get a trifold. And then let's do this. Go to deletelaws.com, go to the contact inquiry form and shoot me an email with your full mailing address, your full name, your full mailing address, and your zip code, and write it in there perfect so I can just copy it and paste it and send you a free one. Let me know if you bought a trifold in the comment section so I don't have to check my back end. And then I'll give away 5 as well. I'll give away 5. I will give away 5. Luke, when I opened up the free trifolds the other day, I got about 400 requests. We sent off 100. So if you weren't in that first 100, Luke, then you didn't get in. But Luke himself, send me an email and put Luke himself on there, and I'll make sure that you get one. I'll make sure that you get one. Thanks, Stacy. Let's go delete laws. Let's go, Playboy. Okay, so this is just another story of a terrible cop.
Fremont's police chief is putting new policies in place after one of his officers arrested the wrong man.
Officer Chevy Farmer was suspended without pay for 3 days. The police chief now speaking out. 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means has the story.
The police chief says the officer feels horrible. He's also reminding his...
I'm so sorry. Mike, someone pick up a pair of driver cards so I can send him a pair. I'm not going to give you 2 pair. I'm going to give you a pair and I'm going to give Mike a pair. Let me know in the comment section if you did it. Mike, you got to shoot me an email. Mike hates pigs, and then put your full name, your mailing address, and I'll send you out a pair of cop cards. That's how it'll go. So we start off with the lie right here.
Chief now speaking out. 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means has the story.
Now, listen to this right here. Ready?
The police chief says the officer feels horrible.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. The police chief says that the officer
has the story.
The police chief says the officer feels horrible. He's also reminding his officers to take an extra 15 seconds when checking information while investigating a case.
I'm, of course, disappointed that we didn't live up to the standards that our community expects us to.
Fremont's police chief apologized to the community after business owner Darnell McLeod was wrongfully arrested on a drug trafficking warrant.
We can't do this alone. We need community support. With the community support, we are exponentially better at doing our job as police officers. We've been talking amongst ourselves.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Exponentially better. Do this alone. We need community support.
Fully arrested on a drug trafficking warrant.
We can't do.
Okay. So here's where the bullshit spin. Hey, Ronald Zimmerman, I saw your comment. I'll look up your information if that's how you spell your last name. We'll see. I'll look it up. We'll see if there's anything for Ronald Zimmerman.
Do this alone. We need community support.
We can't do this alone. We need community support.
With the community support, we are exponentially better.
With the community support, we're exponentially better. Put a 1 in the chat if that's a lie. You don't care about community support. You're not exponentially better. You're a bad organization from top to bottom. You do more harm than good. You're the criminals in the night. You're the thief. You're the terrorist. You're the worst of all of America. There's nothing worse than you. I have no more disdain for any other human being alive other than you. I disdain you the most. I dislike you. I distrust you. I think that you're a bad person. You're not exponentially better. You're a terrible organization with a group of terrible people who reinforce themselves over and over that they're the good guys, but you're not. You're the terrorists. I'm sorry. I wish it was different. I wish it was different. That's exactly how I feel. If I'm just going to keep it honest, put a 1 in the chat if you somewhat agree with what I'm saying right here.
Darnell McLeod was wrongfully arrested on a drug trafficking warrant.
Darnell McLeod was wrongfully arrested on a drug trafficking warrant.
We can't do this alone. We need community support. With the community support, we are exponentially better at doing our job as police officers. We've been talking amongst ourselves on ways we can do better. And it's not just with interactions like this. There's other things that we can do better.
He says there is training in place and procedures officers should follow when arresting someone on a warrant.
How long does it take? What's your birthday? What's the last four numbers of your social security number? What's your home address? What's the address on your license? I mean, I'm just saying that out loud right here. And there are some protocols that we are talking about putting in place for every time, even those times that officers don't think they need it.
Officer Chevy Farmer was given a 3-day suspension without pay for failing to confirm the identity of a person he arrested. Darnell McLeod spent nearly a half an hour at the jail. It was a jail employee who recognized the officer arrested the wrong guy.
What's your whole name? My name is Mr. McLeod. My name is Darnell McLeod.
The police chief is
But I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you know Darnell McLeod said it 50 times as they were arresting him. I'm not that person. My name is Darnell McLeod. He said it over and over and over. Let's see that body cam footage. If you're exponentially better with the community's help, Mr. Copper, then let's see the body cam footage where he begged and pleaded and told you he was not the person that you needed to arrest. Where's that footage at? I want to see it. I want to see it. Show me that footage. Show me. I want to see that footage.
reviewing past warrant arrests.
This is not a chronic issue. Part of the review that we have done internally is we're just looking back and through our records to make sure that we did good jobs in the other warrants that we executed. We have done internally is we're just looking back.
We're looking back
through our records.
Looking back through their records.
Make sure that we did good jobs.
That we did good jobs arresting people. That's the whole problem, Copper. That's the whole problem. Jailing is failing. Arresting people is bad. There is a certain percentage of the population that has to be carted off to a walled out building where they can't get out. We know that. But 90% of us don't need to go to jail. Maybe more. Segregation over incarceration. You guys will read more about it in my book. This guy believes that him arresting people is a good job. It's just not true. It's not true. Arresting people is bad.
The other warrants that we executed.
And he's reminding his officers,
when we do these jobs, all of them, we need to do them well, and we need to live up to the expectation of our community and the rules that we have as a police department.
Fremont Police. I don't know which state this is in. Is this in California? Give him a like here. WTVG. Toledo, Ohio. Of course it's Ohio. My goodness. I should have known better. I was wondering where it was. Well, gosh, I should have known where it was. Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, Ohio. That's him right there.
You have reached the Sandusky County Communications Center, dispatching for the Sandusky County Sheriff's Office and Fremont Police Department. Please listen carefully to the following information. To file a report with the Sandusky County Sheriff's Office or Fremont Police Department, please remain on the line after this recording and a dispatcher will assist you. For a list of divisions in the Sheriff's Office, please press 1. For a list of divisions in the Fremont Police Department, please press 2. Thank you.
You have reached the Fremont Police Department. To speak with an officer or dispatch, please press 1. 2 for records. 3 for property and evidence. 4 to reach a detective.
Wait while I transfer your call.
Cope doggy dog.
Sandusky County Communications, Director Anderson.
Director Anderson, I was calling for Derek Wessinger. Is he there?
Chief Wensinger, I'm in a different building, but I'll be happy to get you over to his desk. That way, if he is there, you can grab the call, okay?
Great.
Hold the line just a moment. It's going to go silent while it transfers, but please don't hang up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if this music will get copywritten. Give me 1 second. As soon as he comes on, I'll put the speaker back on. Ronald, you can't sue the state. The 11th Amendment makes it impossible for you to sue a state unless they agree to be sued. You can sue a county, a district, a borough.
Sorry,
Derek Wensinger.
is not available. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Derek, my name is Chili DeCastro. I have a fairly popular channel on YouTube called Delete Laws because we have too many laws on the books. And if there's a law on the books, there's a cop ready to enforce it. But more than that, Derek, I'm a political activist, and eventually I'll get into executive power and I'll change policing from the top down. I saw your interview with some news station when your copper wrongfully arrested a man and took him to jail. And you said something in that news conference that I just wanted to ask you about. I'm not hard to reach. Go to Delete Laws. You can find it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I'll call you back tomorrow. I'll keep calling you. I doubt you jump on the phone with me, but you said that you police are exponentially better with community help. I'm calling you to tell you that, Derek, that's not true, that you sound like a liar. You don't give a damn about us or our community involvement with the police. You signed up to a Death Star, to an evil organization that policies, procedures, and protocols are brutal, inhumane, and barbaric. The policies, procedures, and protocols that you teach cops, you could take a perfectly good human being who signs up to be a copper, and then as soon as they instill the policies, procedures, and protocols, Derek, that you teach at that crappy police department you work at, they become evil. They become a demon. They become the darkness, the fear, the terror, and the night. Listen, you don't have to like me. You don't have to respond to me, nothing. I just want to let you know. I saw your interview, Derek. You seem like there's a human being in there. Well, if there's still a human being in there and you haven't had that blue line completely ruin your brain, the policies, procedures, and protocols, putting people in torture cuffs, arresting people for nonviolent crimes, arresting people who are nonviolent, arresting people for child support, arresting people for a myriad of different things that you would arrest them for when there's no violence involved. Derek, that's the problem that people have with you and policing in America. I wanted to be the first to tell you. Hopefully my number showed up on caller ID and you can call me back. That'd be great. I'd love to have a conversation because currently, just to be clear, I don't like or respect cops at all. And I'm honest about that. A lot of people are not, but I'm honest. I say it up front. I think most of you are scumbags. 100% scumbags. What kind of person puts another person in torture cuffs and then when it hurts them, they say, hey, this is hurting me. And the cop will say they're not supposed to be comfortable. What kind of human being does that and then doesn't garner disdain, distrust? And really the best word is hate for that person. So I don't understand, Derek, how you can go on TV and say, we're better with the community. Derek, from my perspective, you're a liar. You don't give a shit about my perspective. You'll gloss over this message. You won't call back. You'll take no input from the citizens, nothing. You suspended a cop for 3 days and that made the news. Think about that, Derek. You can watch this. Everything, I'm leaving you a voicemail. It's public. I'm leaving it during a live stream. Hundreds of people are watching. Thousands will listen to this voicemail I'm leaving to you now. I'm looking right at you, Derek. Looking right at your picture right on my screen. And I'm telling the world right now in front of everybody, I think you're a liar. I don't think you give a shit about us. You give a shit about overtime, your pension, your pay, your promotion, your ranking. If you're a sergeant, a lieutenant, a major, a captain, whatever kind of hierarchy, the more years you stay in, the more you think that you're this higher ranking person in society. When the majority of people in America don't feel like you're a captain, a major, or a lieutenant, or anything else. That policing should not be a militarized operation. It's a domestic peace officers corps. So I wanted to just call you myself and just let you know exactly. I think you're full of shit. I listened to your interview. I watched your interview. Thousands of people will watch it with me. I think you're full of shit, dude. We're exponentially better with the community's help. You don't care about us. You give zero about us, Derek. Zero. Absolutely none. You don't care. You will gloss over this message.
You are approaching the maximum length for a recording.
Yeah.
Finish your recording after the tone.
You will gloss over this message, maybe show it to a couple other little coppers there. But as far as you actually implementing change to get rid of the torture cuffs, I have... okay, whatever. All right, dude. I left the message. I told you. I think you're full of shit. So as long as you get to hear...
the maximum
there it
length
is.
for a recording. To send this message, press pound or hang up. To play it, 3. To re-record it, 4. To add...
Derek, my name is Chili DeCastro. I have a fairly popular channel on YouTube called Delete Law.
Okay. So Derek got it. Derek got the message. Derek, put a 1 in the chat if you don't believe Derek Wessinger. If you don't believe him, put a 1 in the chat. If you think pretty much everything Derek said in the interview was bullshit gloss, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe him. And then Derek, you can watch the live stream back. We're an hour and 37 minutes in. You can watch the live stream back. I think you're full of shit. I think you're just like the rest of the JBTPs. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I think. But it would be other people who would be the determiners of that. It's just so someone sent this to me today. So I don't have there's one called Flores versus California that the California Supreme Court just overruled Terry versus Ohio in California. I'll pull. This is the Michigan State Supreme Court. And what they've done is they've overruled Terry versus Ohio in Michigan. So we're starting to see it change with the more cameras on, the more we see that Terry is this disgusting, too low of a standard for free people. If anybody can say, I'm suspicious of you, and then they can run up and do these things to you, well, then that's not a freedom standard. That's a police state standard.
Clark, we told you the story of a Kalamazoo County man who was finally able to clear his name 5 years after he drove away from a stop by police. Michigan's Supreme Court says violated his civil rights.
It's a story that you'll only see on Channel 8 in part 2 tonight. Amanda Porter has more on what you need to know if you're ever in the same situation. Amanda?
The United States Constitution gives all Americans rights, and the Fourth Amendment protects from government action that is improper regarding illegal searches and seizures and even detainment. Kalamazoo County man Douglas Prude took his case all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court, who ruled in his favor. Now, here's what you need to know to stay safe and protect your civil rights.
Being in a police interaction can be a highly intense situation, something Douglas Prude knows all too well. He was visiting his girlfriend at the Fox Ridge apartment complex in Kalamazoo back on May 30th in 2019, when two Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety officers on patrol tried to detain him as they tried to figure out if he was trespassing on the property.
So I've listened to this already. I watched this a couple times today. So listen carefully here. They're just showing a building. So let's listen very, very carefully together real quick. Listen and try to just listen.
When two knows all too well. He was visiting his girlfriend at the Fox Ridge apartment.
He was visiting his girlfriend at an apartment building, committing no crimes.
Complex in Kalamazoo back on May 30th in 2019, when two Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety officers on patrol tried to detain him.
Why? He was visiting his girlfriend at the Fox Ridge apartments. Why are you trying to detain him? For what reason? Because he's somewhere and you don't know who he is? This is the Terry standard, that cops can look at you on the property of an apartment building and say, oh, I'm suspicious of that. Well, what are you suspicious of? It doesn't matter. You can just say I'm suspicious and that's enough. And that's the Terry versus Ohio standard.
As they tried to figure out if he was trespassing.
How are you going to figure that out? Without violating his Fourth Amendment right that he doesn't have to show ID. You can't figure out if he's trespassing on that apartment building without getting his ID. But you can't get his ID without violating his Fourth Amendment right of an unreasonable seizure. Do you understand the problem that we're facing here?
On the property. Prude felt the officers were violating his rights, so he drove away. Prude would later be charged with fleeing and eluding.
He drove away because he believed that his rights were being violated.
And resisting arrest. But according to a Michigan Supreme Court ruling, Prude was well within his legal rights. Police can legally have consensual conversations with pedestrians and drivers. That can open the door to an investigation or reasonable suspicion.
Okay, there it is, right there. Listen carefully. She's going to say it again. I'm going to play it back again. Listen.
A Michigan Supreme Court ruling, Prude was well within his legal rights. Police can legally have consensual conversations.
Police can legally have conversations
with pedestrians and drivers.
They can talk to you, but here's the whole point. If you don't talk to them,
that can open the door to an investigation.
Did you hear it? She just said police can.
Well within his legal rights. Police can legally have consensual conversations with pedestrians and drivers. That can open the door to an investigation.
That can open the door. They walk up to you and say, hey, I just want to have a consensual conversation. Do you live here? Oh, I'm just visiting my girlfriend. Oh, that sustains my belief that you could be trespassing. You just told me you don't live here. You said your girlfriend lives here, but that means you don't live here. Let me see some ID because now I'm going to charge you with trespassing or try to trespass warn you, but you don't know the law. So I'm just going to tell you because you answered the question, do you live here? No, I'm at my girlfriend's house. Okay, great. Then let me see some ID. For what? For trespassing. But you may not know that you first have to receive a warning for trespassing. You know that now because you're a member of Delete Laws. When the cops walk up to you and they start talking to you, You pull out your Fifth Amendment cop card and you do the steps 1 through 6. This is the non-driver card. Cop cited. Start filming and state, I invoke my First Amendment rights. The law is in the navy blue, Turner versus Driver. Number 2, cop approaches and says any words to you at all. Do you live here, sir? As soon as he says that, I say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Number 2. Number 3, cop asks you to exit the vehicle, but he's at an apartment complex, so he's not exiting the vehicle. If they do, though, it's on the card. While filming, exit and state, I plead the Fifth Amendment. Number 4, cop says, give me your ID. I have reasonable articulable suspicion. If you followed step 1, like the reporter said, they can initiate a consensual conversation. Number 1 right here says, I invoke my First Amendment right. Number 2 says, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. Number 4, when he says, give me some ID, I have reasonable articulable suspicion. While filming, you say, I plead the Fifth Amendment. I identify as good citizen. No IDs required. Do you understand? I've laid out a step-by-step process for you so that you don't get hemmed up and you don't go to jail and you don't end up with 5 years of chasing down justice, which is what this guy had to do. 5 full years of chasing down justice.
Within his legal rights. Police can legally have consensual conversations with pedestrians and drivers.
I think she said can't. I think the copy that she's reading, you guys listen to this with me real quick, okay? I think she says police can't have consensual conversations. I think she's reading a typed up report, and I don't think it says can, which it's supposed to be can. They can have consensual conversations.
Police can legally have. Ruling Prude was well within his legal rights. Police can legally have consensual conversations with pedestrians and drivers.
You can. They can have consensual conversations. You have to agree to the consensual conversation. You should say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. I don't talk to cops.
Can open the door to an investigation.
The consensual conversation you have with the cops can open the door to an investigation.
Or reasonable
suspicion that you're trespassing.
But there's a fine line between.
There's not a fine line. There's no line. There's absolutely no line. There's zero line. I can just walk up to Mikey B and say, hey, Mikey B, I'm suspicious of you. Do you live here? That's all. I don't even have to tell him I'm suspicious of you. I can just walk up and start questioning him. And if Mikey B doesn't know the rules exactly, if he doesn't have this Fifth Amendment cop card, if he hasn't gone through 1 through 6, I give away more of these than I sell. By far, 3 to 1. I give away 3 of these cards to every one that I sell. Why would I do that? I'm a businessman. I'm in business to make money, right? I'm in business to make a profit so I can put food on the table for my family, right? So then why would I give away 3 to 1? Why would I give away 3 to 1? Like, you give away 3 to 1 at least, maybe 4 to 1. I give these away like they're candy. Why would I do that? Because if you don't have it, the card and you don't show it to the stupid, ignorant cop in front of you, he's going to think he knows more than you. Whereas if you say, I got this from this guy on delete laws, he guaranteed me that this was 100% correct. I believe him more than I trust you. Why would I give it away to so many of you? Put a 1 in the chat if you have a cop card in your wallet. Your $10 is not going to make or break me, but it might make or break you. You have got to be able to show the cop the card. You have to be able to show it, pull it out and show it. That's why I made it like a driver's license. You could put it in your back pocket, sweat your back off, and it's not going to run or leak. It'll always be the same. It's just
between investigation or reasonable suspicion, but there's a fine line between what's reasonable suspicion and what's a constitutional violation.
If there's such a fine line between what's reasonable suspicion and a constitutional violation, then why don't we get rid of the reasonable suspicion? It was only created in 1968. Just 4 years after segregation was actually officially ended with the 1964 Civil Rights Act. We never had a need for reasonable suspicion or officer safety until blacks were freed in 1964 with the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Oh, you may say, no, Chile, Brown versus Board of Education in 1954 desegregated America. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And who made sure that segregation stayed in place? The police did. The police in America made sure segregation stayed in place. Blacks were not freed until the 1964 Civil Rights Act, a year after JFK was assassinated. I read a book on Hugo Black when I was in the dungeon, who was a lifetime member of the KKK. Put on the Supreme Court in 1937 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. On the Supreme Court from 1937 to 1971. I've talked a lot of ish about Hugo Black. I was wrong. Hugo Black made a 180. Hugo Black made a 180. He changed. He said, I don't believe in this racist crap anymore. Hugo Black, there was another case that he heard in 1968 about segregation. And he was in the minority when he voted that it was unconstitutional to keep segregation going, but he lost. So Hugo Black may have signed up to be a member of the KKK in 1926, 1927, when he was first elected senator of Alabama. But he changed his stripes. You know who else did that? Was John Harlan I, Supreme Court Justice from 1877 to 1911. John Harlan owned slaves. He was a slave owner. He was a slave owner, and he changed his stripes over time. So let me go back to this real quick. I'm getting off track a little bit. Sorry about that.
To hold, otherwise, they said, would subject all of us to being able to be detained by the police for investigation, and that's not consistent with our Constitution. That's not consistent with the legal principles of the United States of America.
We're going to really look into that. That's just something, court decisions come down all the time, and that's how we learn and train and get better, and we have to adjust based on court ruling. That's what governs us, how we do our jobs, and this was a case where we need to probably look at that and say, okay, this is the way we've always operated, this is the policy of the apartment complex, but is that a good enough standard? Now, obviously, this is 2019, this hasn't really come up like that since.
The apartment complex had a policy the police were enforcing. Unbelievable.
But we'll look at that, how we're enforcing that at the apartment complex.
Well, it's tough because, everybody has rights, and it's, it can be frustrating for both parties when, you're, a citizen and you're hanging out and you're just trying to live your life. And then you're like, oh, the police are on me. But then they're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe here.
Did you hear what she said? Oxymoron.
Parties when, you're, a citizen and you're hanging out and you're just trying to live your life. And then you're like, oh, the police are on me. But then they're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe here.
But we police in a free society, and that's one of the most challenging things.
Yeah.
Because people have rights.
We don't live in a free society. We live in a total and complete police state.
Trying to live your life. And then you're like, oh, the police are on me. But
oh, the police are on me. She's saying the quiet part out loud. She didn't even mean to slip. Oh, the police are on me, meaning physically on you.
And they're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe here.
Oh, you're on top of me to make sure it's safe? You're the danger. You're the darkness. You're the demon. You're the fear. You're the evil. You're on me. And I've posed no threat to anybody.
But we police in a free society, and that's...
Oh, but we police in a free society. This is not a free society. Put a 1 in the chat if this is a total police state. That you can't drive from here to the convenience store without a cop trying to hide to give you a ticket. Without a cop trying to investigate you. It's disgusting.
That's one of the most challenging things.
Yeah.
Because people have rights. So you just can't stop people for no reason.
Put a 1 in the chat if cops are stopping people for no reason. Put a one in the chat if cops are stopping people for no reason, for zero reason. Oh, Craig Hendry sent me a $5 PayPal and said, "Hey, call me. Hey, Craig, you got to leave me a number for Craig Hendry on the Hendry channel over there. Hendry, you got to leave me an actual phone number."
It's one of the most challenging things.
Yeah.
Because people have rights. So you just can't stop people for no reason. You can't
But they are stopping people for no reason.
search them for no reason.
But they are searching people for no reason. What a load of shit on a stick.
Which is good. That's the way it should be. You don't want to live in I wouldn't want to live in a society where officers can stop me for no reason.
But that's what's happening. But that's exactly what's happening. Is that what's happening? Are cops stopping people for no reason? Yes or no? Are cops stopping people for no reason? Yes, they are. What kind of dog shit, what kind of shit for brains is this guy? I mean, really? What kind of shit for brains? Is there a name on here?
Or officers could get in my pocket and search me without a reason or stop my car for
This is at 3 minutes. Let me come back here. I'll come back to 3 minutes.
the apartment complex.
Well, it's tough.
Let me see if I can get rid of the closed caption here. Let me see something. We'll come right back to it.
Because, everybody has rights. And it's, it can be frustrating for both parties when, you're, a citizen and you're hanging out and you're just trying to live your life. And then you're like, oh, the police are on me. But then they're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe here.
But we police in a free society, and that's one of the most challenging things.
Yeah.
Because people have rights. So you just can't stop people for no reason. You can't search them for no reason, which is good. That's the way it should be. You don't want to live in I wouldn't want to live in a society where officers can stop me for no reason, or officers could get in my pockets and search me without a reason, or stop my car for no reason. We have to have a reason. That's what's important. That's what's important for officers to take the time to articulate the reasons they have.
In Douglas Pruitt's case, the Supreme Court said he had.
What a load of shit. So I'm going to come back to this video. It's at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm going to come back to this video at 3 minutes and 10 seconds here. Oh, it says it's closed. Let's just check it out real quick. I'm just going to real quick shoot this guy a phone call and let him hear what he said.
At 5 o'clock,
apartment complex.
If this call is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If this call is a non-emergency in nature, you need to speak to the dispatch center, press 1. For Dispatch Authority Administration, press 2.
The Dispatch Authority Administrative Office is not staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Therefore, if you need immediate assistance, press 0 and you will be transferred into the dispatch center. Press 1 for... Kalamazoo Dispatch.
Hey, I was calling. My name's Chili DeCastro, and I was calling to find out, is the captain or the chief or whatever kind of military acronym he's given himself, is he a white guy about 50 or so? I'm watching him on this interview with Wood TV 8, and he's saying that that he's policing in a free society, and that people shouldn't be just targeted by the police to get their ID or to investigate them. But I was calling to let him know that that's exactly what's happening all over America every day. Is the captain, or is he captain, chief, lieutenant? What, I'm not sure what he calls himself.
I don't know who you're referring to. We dispatch for all of the police agencies in Kalamazoo County.
Okay. The city of Kalamazoo Police Department is where he would be from.
Okay. So I don't know if you're wanting to speak with somebody at...
Yeah, I want to talk to him, actually.
Okay, I don't have a way for you to speak directly to him, sir.
Okay.
Is there a specific address you're calling about?
Well, it was with Kalamazoo. It was in the city of Kalamazoo Police. If I call back tomorrow, is there going to be somebody in?
I can give you the main number there, but I doubt that they'll put you straight through to the captain of the.
Right, because God forbid he actually answers the questions of the public, right?
I can give you their main number though.
Sure, go ahead. Let me get that main number. Let's give him a call real quick.
The main number is 269
269
337 8120. But I do have to ask you to hold. I've got 911 line ringing.
Okay, I would have said thank you, but she had to go. 239 337 8120. Okay. So check out this comment here. This became a fluff one piece for law enforcement, thousands of hours of new coverage. You could test every single law enforcement, and I guarantee they would fail one simple fact of overused Terry versus Ohio. The Terry stop and the Terry search. The number of lives ruined because of a traffic stop is astounding.
The person at extension 8120 is unavailable. Please leave your message after the tone. When done, hang up or press the pound key.
I'm not sure who I reached here. I was trying to reach the city of Kalamazoo Police Department. I wanted to talk about the interview that they did on channel Wood TV 8 and how this guy's talking about policing in a free society. I'll call you guys back tomorrow. Thanks for your time.
Oh, and you're just trying to live your life, and then you're like, oh, the police are on me, but then they're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure it's safe here.
But we police in a free society, and that's one of the most challenging things.
Yeah.
Because people have rights, so you just
I know.
can't stop people for no reason. You can't search them for no reason, which is good. That's the way it should be. You don't want to live I wouldn't want to live in a society where officers can stop me for no reason, or officers could get in my pockets and search me without a reason, or stop my car for no reason. We have to have a reason. That's what's important.
But that's what's happening. What is he?
Get in my pockets and live I wouldn't want to live in a society where officers can stop me for no reason.
You wouldn't want to live in a society where you call them officers. We don't really call them officers around here.
The way it should be. You don't want to live I wouldn't want to live in a society where officers can stop me for no reason, or officers could get.
You wouldn't want to live in a society where cops could stop you for no reason, but put a 1 in the chat if that's exactly what's happening.
My pockets and search me without a reason, or stop.
Put a 1 in the chat if cops are searching people's pockets without a warrant.
My car for no reason. We have to have.
Put a 1 in the chat if cops are searching people's cars without a warrant and for no good reason.
For a reason. That's what's important. That's what's important for officers to take the time to articulate the reasons they have.
And Douglas.
Boy, there's a Freudian slip.
And that's what's important for officers to take the time to articulate the reasons they have.
So it's not important that they don't illegally search, seize, and violate our rights. It's important for officers to articulate the reasons why they're violating your rights, why they're violating you. And they wonder why we don't like them. He just sat there and said, I don't want to live in a society where cops pull me over, where cops go in my pockets, where cops search my car. And then he taps that off with.
That's what's important. That's what's important for officers to take the time to articulate the reasons they have.
So, but that's not what you said a second ago, Copper. You said that you didn't want to live in a society where cops pulled you over for no reason, went in your pockets, went in your car. Okay. And then instead of saying that's what's happening and we need to stop it, based on the Michigan Supreme Court saying that you can't just randomly stop people and violate their rights, overturning Terry versus Ohio in Michigan. That's essentially what this case did. Instead of that, you say it's important that we articulate the reasons why we're violating your rights. You are such a filthy, you piece of, really, you're such a scumbag, bro. You really are. Such a scumbag.
In Douglas Pruitt's case, the Supreme Court said he had a right to drive away from a Kalamazoo apartment complex in 2019, but fleeing from police or evading detainment can be dangerous.
Oh, right. And now this whole, like this person William wrote right here, what William Moore right here wrote, this whole thing that he wrote becomes true right here, where this becomes a fluff piece for police warning them that you have to comply.
Vince Colella is a civil rights attorney with 30 years experience.
And Vince Colella, who's the civil rights attorney with 30 years experience, sorry, Vince, to me, it seems like you're a real cop-sucking authoritarian.
Safety is first.
Safety is first, right there. That's a guy I wouldn't hire. That's a guy I would not hire. Your rights are first. Being a police officer is supposed to be a dangerous job. And now listen to the rest of Vince Colella's crap.
The civil rights attorney with 30 years experience.
Safety is first. And you have to understand from a police officer's perspective.
You have to understand from a cop's perspective. Vince, not a great outing for you so far. Safety's first, and you have to understand from the cop's perspective, you are the same as the white supremacist Supreme Court that has passed numerous legislations against us when the Supreme Court is not supposed to create legislation from the bench. And you are right along with them. You're as bad as them, Vince. Vince, I think this makes you look really bad, Vince.
First. And you have to understand from a police officer's perspective.
No, I don't. I understand from my rights.
For whatever the reasons may be, they can enter into a situation with some anxiety.
What are you talking about? You cop-sucking, scum-sucking lawyer.
With some aggressiveness.
We're supposed to understand from their perspective that they can come into a situation with anxiety and aggressiveness? No, Vince, no.
And if you start to defy their authority or
Vince, not a good look, Vince. I'll call your office tomorrow because you're gone.
Give them reasons to feel that they are unsafe for any reason, even if it's just their own subjective belief, you are putting yourself in harm's way.
Many people.
What a cop-sucking, and he's a civil rights lawyer? Vince, not a good look, bro. Not a good look. Vince, you didn't earn yourself any new clients.
Run from the police for fear of wrongful arrest, police brutality, or even death. And a wrongful arrest or conviction can have life-changing impacts on a person, from loss of agency, employment, housing, income, trust, and more. In Prude's case, it took years to get Michigan's high court to review his case and overturn the charges. Still, civil rights attorneys urge citizens to not argue or run from the police. Simply record the interaction and do everything you can to preserve your rights. With the Prude Michigan Supreme Court ruling, Colella says the police. Rights attorneys urge citizens.
Now she's saying that all civil rights attorneys, she says civil rights
return the charges. Still, civil rights attorneys,
all of them. So when I get my bar card and I'm a civil rights attorney, I don't agree with her. Not at all.
Urge citizens to not argue or run from the police.
Don't argue with police?
Simply record the interaction and do everything you can to preserve your rights.
I mean, that is the advice that I give on this channel. To record everything, use your Fifth Amendment cop card, use your rights, invoke your First Amendment, invoke your Fifth Amendment. If you ask for ID, you tell them no, because it says right there, number 4, I don't got to give you ID. If you tell the cop off using vulgar language and he's going to charge you, you can tell him what case law it is. But I guess if I was telling you not to tell the cop how you feel and just invoke the Fifth, then I wouldn't have put number 5 on here. You tell the cop off, use vulgar language. Cop says he's going to charge you with this or with that. While filming, state free speech is protected by the First Amendment. 1971, Cohen versus California, cop loses qualified immunity for arresting you. Number 6, cop says, let me talk, don't interrupt me. While filming, state my right to free speech is protected by the First Amendment. The 1987 case of Houston versus Hill, it's your right to interrupt police. So I do want you to invoke your Fifth Amendment right. And then if you're going to lambaste the cop, just keep it to the facts that you think he is a JBTP and that he's an inadequate human being and that he signed up because he's a dependent, not independent. that he is a loser. But don't talk about your case or anything else. That's why I put number 5 and number 6 on here, because I tell the cops off all the time. I tell them off all the time. Get this on deletelaws.com. Deletelaws.com with a Z. It's just frustrating listening to these reporters.
With approved Michigan Supreme Court ruling, Colella says officers are now on notice.
It is now clearly established that a hunch about a person in a high crime area is not, it doesn't rise to the level of reasonable suspicion to allow them to be detained.
Hold on a minute. I'm sorry.
It doesn't rise to the level of reasonable suspicion in a high crime.
On notice.
It is now clearly established that a hunch about a person in a high crime area is not, it doesn't rise to the level of reasonable suspicion to allow them to be detained.
I'm so sorry, but that's the 1979 case of Brown versus Texas. I'm pretty sure that has already been. I'm going to come right back to this. This is 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Oyez, Brown versus Texas, 1979. Brown versus Texas. Yeah, it is Brown versus Texas, 1979. And this says, conclusion, when the police detain someone because the person refused to identify himself. So this is Brown versus Texas, 1979. I thought this was, he sounded like he was making the Brown argument here. When the police detain someone because the person refused to identify himself, does it constitute a seizure subject to restrictions of the Fourth Amendment? Yes. Chief Justice Warren Burger delivered the unanimous opinion. The court held that the Fourth Amendment covers all police seizures, even those as brief as preventing someone from walking away. So that's what he just said. In a high crime area that you're not allowed to leave. The Fourth Amendment requires that such seizures be based upon specific and objective facts that create a compelling public interest in the seizure outweighs the individual's expectation of privacy. In this case, the court held the police officers lacked any reasonable suspicion based on objective facts to allow them to detain Brown and question him. Since the seizure was not lawful, the Texas statute requiring Brown to identify himself did not apply. On December 9th, 1977, El Paso Pigs, Venegas and Sotelo were in a patrol car. They saw Zachary Brown, another man, leaving an alley in opposite directions. The alley was known for a high incident of chemical trafficking. The officers believed the situation was suspicious, Terry versus Ohio, and stopped Brown for questioning. They asked Brown to identify himself. He refused. They had no cause to stop him. So it sounds like the Michigan State Supreme Court. It sounds to me like the Michigan State Supreme Court holding that just came out is identical to Brown. That's what it sounds like to me. When the officers frisked him, they did not find any suspicious material on him. He was arrested for violation of a Texas statute that made it illegal to possess for a person to refuse to identify himself when a cop requests it. Brown was taken into county jail where he did identify himself and was charged with the violation. Brown was convicted in municipal court and fined. He then exercised his right to trial in the county court and moved for dismissal on the grounds that Texas statute was unconstitutional under the 1st, 4th, 5th, 14th Amendments. The motion was denied and he was convicted. When the police detained someone because they refused to identify themselves.
At 5 o'clock, we told
some anxiety, with some aggressiveness.
To review his case and overturn the charges. Still, civil rights attorneys record the interaction and do ruling. Colella says officers are now on notice.
This is the Colella ruling out of Michigan.
It is now clearly established that a hunch about a person in a high crime area is not, it doesn't rise to the level of reasonable suspicion to allow them to be detained.
Okay, but that's, I mean, that is, I mean, you guys just read it. That's the 1979 case of Brown versus Texas. The reason I studied all these cases and I know them off the top of my head is because I don't want my rights violated. This Colella case in Michigan is Brown versus Texas, 1979. Instead of it being the Supreme Court, it's the Michigan State Supreme Court instead of the Supreme Court of the United States. But they say exactly the same thing. Oh, wow. Someone knows about James Sheets, huh? Yeah, Stacy. James Sheets was murdered, targeted, and murdered by the cops. You know, this is the point. You got to have my Fifth Amendment cop card on you. You got to have the Fifth Amendment trifold in your car. You have to have these items in your car. I sent off 100 free ones this last week. I'll send off 100 more this week. How about that? I'll do 100 more. But I get 400, 500 requests when I say I'll give away free ones. If you can afford to buy one, please buy one. Please buy one. I mean, see, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place because I have these materials. I created them. I want you to have them, but I have to make money at the same time. I want to give these away to every single person in here. I want to give these away to everybody. The first 2 years I created the trifold, I gave it away for free. Overdrafted my account. I gave so many away. I want everybody to have one. I want you to have a trifold in your car. I want you to have a cop card. Just having the cop cards in your wallet, the driver and the non-driver card, man, it gives you so much more confidence. You feel so much more secure. Now, these are only $10, but I have to sell some. I've been giving away so many since I've been out of the dungeon. I've got to sell some of these. So I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. Gary, you got one? Right on, man. Yeah. Love you too, Jake. Love you too, buddy. I'm super glad I'm out of that dungeon too. I'm super glad I'm out of that dungeon. Yeah. Thanks, Greg, for putting up the, if anybody donates any money, I'll take the same amount of money and I'll give away free trifolds and free cop cards to people. That's what I'll do. And I guarantee you, now that I made an announcement earlier that I was going to give another 100 away, my email address will fill up. It'll fill up for sure. It'll fill up. That's fine.
So what we're asking officers to do is follow the clearly established rules by our courts, by the Sixth Circuit, which is the federal appellate division. We are asking them to follow the rules that have been established. From the citizens' standpoint, again, you may have a right. You may have a right to resist. You may have a right to not be detained under some circumstances.
But man, this guy is such a cop sucker. It's unbelievable. Vince, you are a cop sucker, bro.
Right. You may have a right to resist. You may have a right to not be detained under some circumstances.
We have a right not to be detained if you're not violent and you're no threat or danger to society or anybody else. You have the right to not be detained. Detained was created in 1968 in Terry versus Ohio. There's no such thing as detainment in our Bill of Rights or our Constitution, Vince. You have the right to not be detained ever. Detainment is crap. You can be arrested for probable cause, but not detained, Vince. It's fake. It's not real. Vince, are you hearing me?
But exercising those rights can be dangerous.
I spoke with Carlton Mayers.
I mean, what a cop sucker. Listen.
But exercising those rights can be dangerous.
Exercising your rights could be dangerous because we have accepted a police state, prison state, death state as a standard. We've lowered the standard of the Fourth Amendment in 1968 to reasonable suspicion. So now that cops can say they're reasonably suspicious of you, you have to let them detain you or it's dangerous for you. So I guess he's telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. He's telling the truth. He's not lying. When the truth comes out, when you say the quiet part out loud, it just reflects the truth is gross. That the minimum standard is reasonable suspicion. That's crazy. Any cop can say he's suspicious of you.
I spoke with Carlton Mayers, a national public safety and policing reform expert, about the dangers of running from police and how police can avoid violating citizens' rights moving forward.
More proof, more proof, more proof in order to show that this was justified and constitutional. Okay. So that's where the difference is going to lie. And for law enforcement now, they're going to have to train and also have this reflected in their policies in Michigan that you cannot just say reasonable suspicion is high crime activity area. To me,
but that was determined in Brown versus Texas, 1979.
You need to make sure you get people from that area in the trainings that have to do with direct police civilian interactions like implicit bias, de-escalation, crisis intervention techniques, cultural sensitivity.
No, dude. So a couple things here. Number one, Terry versus Ohio has been brainwashed into these guys' heads that officer safety is first, detain people right away, put them in torture cuffs. So essentially, this ruling in Michigan is the exact same as Brown versus Texas in 1979. We're reiterating that you can't detain people based on suspicion because they're in a high crime area. Gary Manning said you were going to give me one for free. Gary, I sent off 100. I don't know if you were in that list or not, but I sent off 100. 100. I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you've received a free trifold from me or a free cop card from me. I've sent off hundreds and hundreds, Gary. Hundreds. On this broadcast, Gary, I said, let me sell 5 and I'll give away 5. So I'm trying to get them to you, dude. What about $5, Gary? Can you afford a $5 trifold? Can you do $5? Because then it goes into the system and it gets shipped by the factory. It just gets shipped straight out. The Chosen One says, quit begging and ask for the digital copy. Yeah, I sent off hundreds of the digital copy this week. Just sat and clicked, and sent off hundreds people could print out on their own. I just want to make sure that you guys, Showcase audits. You got one today, huh? Right on. Showcase, I will send off a free one for you, dude. And Showcase audits, I will also include a Fifth Amendment cop card, driver and non-driver, in your envelope. I'm not sure what your legal name is. If you want to email me and tell me your legal name, I'll put a couple extra in there for you, a couple extra trifolds, a couple extra cop cards, because you got a big audience. So I'm sure you could give away a couple just as a promotion for people. You know, it is what it is. Want the cop cards? I got the trifold. Let me put up the $5 cop cards. Let me. All right. Listen. I mean, just as honest as I can be with the almost 400 people in here. Okay, listen. I have to at the same time keep a business running. Okay, I have to keep a business running. At the same time, though, I'm going to open up the $5 trifold and the $5 cop card. I think the whole price plus shipping is $10. That's for the cop card and the trifold. So let me go here, and I'm going to put them online right now. If you can afford the $25 version or the $10 version, then pay for them. But if you can't, I'm going to put on here right now $5 promo cop cards. It's up online right now, and I'm going to put the trifold. Let me see where it's at here. And then here is the $5 promotional trifold. So the whole thing will cost you $10. It'll cost you $10. That's what it'll cost. All right, they're both online right now. So here's the trifold for $5. I can view it right here. Here's the trifold for $5. It'll cost you $10 total. If you have the money though, don't get this one. I've got to keep the wheels on the car here. But here's the $5 one right there. That's the $5 trifold, cost you $10 total. And then here is the $5 cop card. Here's the $5 promotional cop card. Archived. Active. That one's $15. Here's the promotional $5 cop card. And this is the old picture, by the way. The new cards are in. So here it is. There it is. If you can afford the full price one, buy it. If you need the $5 one, the $5 one is now online. There it is. Now I'm doing everything I can. There it is. I'm doing everything I can for you. I'm only going to leave those $5 ones on here for you 400 people. And if you can afford the full price one, then buy it, because that supports what I'm doing, keeps me going. But then with the $5 one, it's the same product, but it's just $5. All right? Okay. Let's keep going.
Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards Executive Director Tim Burgoyne says training adjustments will be made after the Prude ruling.
We're in the process of developing what continuing professional education looks like. As you can imagine, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of topics that one can train on each year.
KDPS says they are taking steps to make sure everyone's rights are upheld and the community is safe.
If some of our existing training needs to be increased, or maybe we look at some different things. But I'm really appreciative. MCOLS now is instead of just mandating these trainings, they're actually helping departments with funding for these trainings.
Experts say the bottom line, know your rights and stick to the script.
Indicate that you are not consenting to a search, okay? And let the officers know that you will not speak except with an attorney. And it's not, you have to make it clear that if you believe that you are being arrested, that you say, I want my attorney.
Running from police can be dangerous. The bottom line, know your rights and stick to the script.
Indicate that you are not consenting to a search, okay? And let the officers know that you will not speak except with an attorney. And it's not, you have to make it clear that if you believe that you are being arrested, that you say, I want my attorney.
Running.
I mean, you know, Vince, not a very articulate guy, not the best on camera, Vince, but you know what? Everybody has their skills. Maybe your skills are in writing civil rights legislation, civil rights defenses, but you have to have the piece of paper in your hand. And you have to say, Fifth Amendment, I invoke the right to remain silent. You have to actually say it from a 2013 case, Supreme Court. I think it's Laredo versus Texas. I'll look it up in 1 second here. But this is the whole point. He's exactly correct. You have to have that literature.
Except with an attorney. And you are not consenting to a search, okay? And let the officers know that you will not speak except with an attorney. And it's not.
It says it right here. Number 3 on your Fifth Amendment non-driver cop card while filming. Number 3, I'm right down here. Number 3 right here on the yellow. While filming, exit and state, I plead the Fifth Amendment. I do not consent to searches or seizures. This is your step-by-step tutorial 1 through 6 on this card. This is the reason why I created this. I created this card for you. And I give more of these away than I sell. You have to have the literature and you have to have your phone. You need a camera and literature, and you can beat these dirty cops on the street. You can beat them if you just have a camera and your card or your trifold.
You have to make it clear that if you believe that you are being arrested, that you say, I want my attorney.
Running from police can be dangerous, even if justified. It's better to take your case to court and try to change the system.
For the Michigan Supreme Court to stand up and to take notice of a federal issue, if you will, a Fourth Amendment issue, and find in favor of a citizen and to establish a rule that should be recognized by every court in the country is a significant victory for people in this state. And I think if courts are looking at well-reasoned decisions, whether they be from other states or the federal appellate bench or even the U.S. Supreme Court, it adds credence. It adds sort of a support for better decision-making by our courts.
God, this guy just can't talk. Is frickin' media in here? Is that frickin' media? Wanda Scrub, I believe it's frickin'. Is frickin' media in the room? Because frickin' is a longtime friend of mine. And so I wanted to say hello to him. If you're here, frickin' Salinas versus Texas. That's right. It's 2013. So we're going to come right back to this video. We're at 8 minutes and it's Salinas versus Texas right here. It says it right here. I know where it is exactly because I've showed this so many times. Long-standing judicial precedent has held that any witnesses who desires protection against self-incrimination must explicitly claim that protection. It says it right there. You can see it plain as day. That is Laredo versus Texas, right there. I'm sorry, Salinas versus Texas. I misspoke. Oh, Salinas versus Texas, 2013, right there. You can see that in the big blue right there. And then the constitutional question is, here's the question. Does the Fifth Amendment of self-incrimination clause protect a defendant's refusal to answer questions by cops before he's been arrested or read his Miranda rights? No, it does not. No. Samuel Alito announced the judgment for a divided court. concluded that the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination does not extend to defendants who simply decide to remain mute during questioning. It's right there. It says it right there. You don't get your Fifth Amendment privilege unless you actually explicitly claim it and state it. That's what you're talking about here. Long-standing judicial precedent has held that any witness who desires protection against self-incrimination must explicitly claim that protection. It's right there. Why do you think? Just how come you think it says in huge writing? The trifold has a bunch of cases in it, all kinds of cases about Mary Jane, about parking on the freeway, about cursing out cops, about passenger get out, about extending a stop, about IDing your passenger, about a smell, about when the driver has to get out of the car, and it has all these cases. But then on the main flap right here, it says, Fifth Amendment, I invoke the right to remain silent. Why do you think that's one of the biggest places? Why do you think it's right there? Why do you think it's right there? Why do you think this is the main thing that goes up in your visor with your broccoli wad rubber band? Why do you think I send the broccoli wad rubber band? Why do you think everything goes up in here? Why do you think that's the biggest thing? You have to say it. You have to say the words, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You have to say the actual words. You can read it. Long-standing judicial precedent has held that any witness who desires protection against self-incrimination must explicitly claim that protection. You have to say it out loud. You have to say it out loud. You have to say it out loud. And listen, these are not my words. Most of the things I say, I learned from Montesquieu, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, or John Locke. It says it right there, plain as day. You have to claim that protection, or you don't get it.
At 5 o'clock, we told you the story of a Kalamazoo County man who was finally able to clear his
into the system.
For the Michigan Supreme Court to stand up and to take notice of a federal issue, if you will, a Fourth Amendment issue, and find in favor of a citizen, and to establish a rule that should be recognized by every court in the country, is a significant victory for people in this state. And I think if courts are looking at well-reasoned decisions, whether they be from other states or the federal appellate bench or even the U.S. Supreme Court, it adds credence. It adds sort of a support for better decision-making by our courts across the board. Because we have to, at some point, you got to draw the line. And if it means that a Michigan Supreme Court has chosen to do that, maybe other courts will follow. We get the domino effect that then kind of, makes its way up to the federal courts and to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they start looking at things the way that this court did, which is, in my opinion, the right way.
Okay, so he's just not very, very well spoken. Mark, I don't know what question you had. Shelly Babes, if I bought these in bulk in my little California town, would you be able to give it? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. At least 60% off. At least. I will give you 60% off or more, because I want to give these out. I want people to be able to have these in their hands. I want it, Yeah, Michael Eline said that lawyer's a pinhead. It's just, we're just living in this card and trifold order. Okay, Gigi, I'll send out some to you, and I'll send out for people who contacted me. I'll send out free ones to you today too.
Prude does not have this case on his record and had an order of acquittal on his behalf. In the studio, Amanda Porter, News 8.
Okay, so we know what was the name of the case.
At 5 o'clock, we told you the story of a Kalamazoo County man who was finally able to clear his name 5 years after he drove away from a stop by police. Michigan's Supreme Court says violated his civil rights.
It's a story that you'll only see on Channel 8 in part 2 tonight. Amanda Porter has more on what you need to know if you're ever in the same situation. Amanda?
The United States Constitution gives all Americans rights, and the Fourth Amendment protects from government action that is improper regarding illegal searches and seizures and even detainment. Kalamazoo County man Douglas Prude took his case all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court, who ruled in his favor. Now, here's what you need to know to stay safe and protect your civil rights.
Being in a police interaction can be a highly intense situation, something Douglas Prude knows all too well.
Okay, so his name was.
He was visiting his girlfriend at the Fox Ridge apartment complex.
So it's Prude versus. Let's see what we get here. Michigan State Supreme Court. Prude versus State. Okay, so this is 6/27/2024. Oh, that's the Supreme Court of the United States. Oh, that now it's getting Purdue. I'll find it when we're not online, and I will pull it up. I will pull it up. So here's another one. This is, and this guy, just so you know, in this story,
I'm 38 years old, and I've never been stopped by a game warden before.
Drivers across Utah have seen our story, and they're sick of getting pulled over by these pickup trucks.
I had no idea they were able to pull you over on the freeway.
The tickets aren't from UHP. They're from game wardens patrolling the highways instead of wildlife areas.
Any other questions for me?
No.
Okay.
See you in court,
Well, have a good night. Drive safe. Slow down.
Appreciate it.
I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Adam Herbetz, and each of the drivers you're about to hear from in this story say they believe the Division of Wildlife Resources is either stretching or breaking the law. Now they're working with state lawmakers who agree.
My name is Russ Simper. I was driving home one night, my cruise control set on, and then all of a sudden I saw a cop lights behind me. Just trying to get home.
Trying to get home?
Yes, sir.
Over 100 miles an hour is probably not a good idea.
Over 100?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie. Your car's probably going to get impounded tonight.
The ticket was on I-15.
So I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not going to lie.
Your car's probably gonna get impounded.
Probably going to get impounded tonight.
The ticket was on I-15, April 1st, 2024. But this officer is not with the Utah Highway Patrol. And it wasn't an April Fool's joke.
How old are you?
20.
He's a game warden who has written way more tickets on freeways than any other wildlife officer.
Actually, just going to write it for going under. We're going to do 90 and a 70, okay?
Okay.
That way I'm not going to impound the vehicle.
Russell admits he has sped
So you're supposed to thank him for that?
before, but not this time. He says the cruise control was set for a few miles per hour over 70, but definitely not 90, and definitely not 100.
My name is Mike Pellegrino. I live in St. George, Utah. I got a speeding ticket from a game warden.
The same game warden pulled over this driver 2 months earlier. Mike says if he was actually speeding, he would have heard about it from his wife in the passenger seat.
When I'm in the wrong, I'm in the wrong, and she's quick to tell me that. Haven't really gotten many answers about why I was stopped by him in the first place. It struck me as a little bit odd.
Both of them thought it was odd until they saw our story last month, revealing a new policy requiring wildlife officers to document one violation of the law every 23 hours.
I think the citizens of Utah would say that's not right.
So hold on a second.
Hiring wildlife officers to document.
So requiring wildlife officers who are supposed to be making sure that people don't poach animals or fish illegally when the salmon are spawning, or there's a myriad of reasons why. But then they're going to say right here,
one violation of the law every 23 hours.
So they're supposed to document one violation of the law every 23 hours. I'm just so, that's just, that's.
I think the citizens of Utah would say that's not right. That's not acceptable.
Officers who are afraid of retaliation admit they have been inflating their stats by patrolling highways instead of wildlife areas. Records show DWR's traffic stops on freeways tripled since 2021.
So they passed they put a quota system in place for the wildlife officers, if you want to call them that. And that quota system now makes it so that they've tripled the amount of traffic tickets they're writing.
It's no longer about catching bad people doing bad things, but doing things in an effort to justify the numbers to meet that quota.
The state legislature made quotas illegal in 2018, but the chief says it's not a quota, it's a performance goal.
Numbers to meet that quota.
The state legislature made quotas illegal in 2018, but the chief says it's not a quota, it's a performance goal. But the chief says it's not a quota, it's a performance goal.
Performance equals that you punish another person. Your performance is based on you making sure that you fine, fee, ticket, charge a free American with a crime. That's part of your performance. Make sure that you fine, fee, ticket, charge somebody with a crime.
2018, but the chief says it's not a quota, it's a performance goal.
We're not increasing the crime, we're just better documenting what's occurring, right?
Chief Wyatt Buback, Division of Wildlife. So just take a look at Chief. Just take a look at him, all right? Take a good look at him. Now, what I want you to do is you take a look at him. Now picture him in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Get rid of that stupid costume and picture that guy in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Take a good look. Take a good look. What do you think? What's the here? I'll put the first words that come to my mind here in the chat. There's a couple people already caption this photo. I put my thoughts. What do you think when you look at him? What do you think? I put mine in there. April put her caption in there. April's got a couple captions. Cold. Look at the comments. Look at the comments. Look at the comments. Look at what people think of this dude.
I don't really see the difference there. To me, it seems exactly like a quota.
Do you think you were someone else's quota?
I do believe that, yes. I have a bright yellow car. I'm 20 years old. It looks sporty, and I think he was just looking for another number.
None of the drivers we've interviewed have met each other, but their stories have so many similarities. Like this.
He stopped me, and then as soon as he was finished with me, he pulled someone else over immediately.
It really seemed like he was going from car to car, because after I had been pulled over, I had left. He sat there for a second, and he was right on to the next car.
He's fighting the ticket, and in the end, it'll be his word against the officers, since DWR admits game wardens don't have any speed detecting equipment in their trucks. They just use their own speedometers to eyeball it, which is legal, but less precise.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, how did you track? Were you like on the side, or how did you track my speed?
You came right up next to me, and then you just took off. A lot of cops now are actually just pacing.
I have 100% respect.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, how did you track? Were you like on the side, or how did you track my speed?
You came right up next to me, and then you just took off. A lot of cops now are actually just pacing.
A lot of cops now are actually just pacing. And who is the judge going to believe?
I have 100% respect for a lot of officers. It's not an easy job.
Whoa.
She's just pacing.
I have 100% respect for a lot of officers. It's not.
Yeah. We're definitely different. Put a 1 in the chat if you disagree with him. I'm sorry, cops. I don't respect you. I wish I could. I really wish I could say that most cops are good. I really wish I could say that, but I don't. I know that most of you are scum, and I wish that wasn't true, but you'll get the truth here.
uneasy job. I see no reason for a DNR to be on the freeway at 11 o'clock at night. And if you want to be UHP, go ahead and be UHP. You're taking, officers away from the mountains when there could be, real crime happening. It's not helping me. It's not helping you. It's not helping the state of Utah.
Now, some of the drivers we called admitted, yeah, they were speeding and they did deserve a ticket. But they said they were still surprised to see game wardens doubling crime and tripling their traffic stops on the freeway. On Friday, we'll show you what lawmakers say they plan to do about it on Fox 13 News at 9.
So he said on Friday, this came out 5 days ago. So Friday's not yet. Today's only Wednesday. Okay. So we won't get any more information until Friday. Okay. I get it. Okay. That's fine. So then we'll check back in. Let's leave him a little comment here. Let me see what you guys can see. All right, let me clear myself off here. Okay. So we'll just tell him.
Now to a story that we've been telling you about for more than 2 years. Ramsey County just settled a federal civil rights lawsuit accusing a deputy of excessive force against a 65-year-old black man mistaken for a suspect half his age.
Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen broke that story back in 2022, and he has more details on the settlement.
Michael Tory White was outside his apartment in Falcon Heights in 2020 using a walker when a deputy threw him to the ground and detained him. Tonight, Tory White's lawyer tells me he has still not received an apology from the sheriff, but now accountability is coming in the form of a payout from Ramsey County.
You hurt me and you broke my arm.
It's now a $75,000 takedown.
I did nothing wrong. You broke my arm.
It's now a
He's slamming the guy down while he's in a walker.
$75,000 takedown.
I did nothing wrong.
More than 2 years after we first told the story of Michael Tory White, mistaken by a deputy for a suspect in his 30s.
So it wasn't that guy with the walker.
More than a year after 5 investigates finally got these police videos, Ramsey County is settling a lawsuit that Tory White's lawyer sums up like
That guy with the walker.
more than a year after 5 investigates finally got these police videos.
More than a year after
5 investigates finally got these
after they finally got these police body cam videos. See, this is the whole point. We pay for a government. The government footage is supposed to be available to us. We're supposed to be able to get this footage without having to beg or even pay for this footage. We already pay for the footage to be produced. Now we have to pay for it to be procured, to be edited, which is a load of shit. I mean, privacy in our country is pretty much dead at this point. Defamation, all this stuff that people do to you online, it's pretty much dead now. I'm suing a bunch of trolls right now. I just paid a lawyer a bunch of money to sue a bunch of trolls. But it's pretty much gone. And they had to pay, it took a year to get these police videos.
Ramsey County is settled after 5 investigates finally got these police videos. Ramsey County is settling a lawsuit that Tory White's lawyer sums up like this.
Elderly man with his walker taken to the ground by the sheriff's deputy on suspicion of being a suspect who just outran a car, when the only similarity between them was that they were both black.
You know, I don't know about you, but to me, not everything is racist. It's just not. Policing, the Supreme Court, legislation throughout the history of our country has been proven to be racist time and time and time again. Over and over and over. We keep seeing that cops, the Supreme Court, and legislators create racist holdings, racist arrests, and racist laws. It sucks. It sucks to say that out loud as someone who also identifies as a conservative. It sucks. I hate it. It's true. It's true. He pointed out He pointed out the quiet part out loud. This is he a lawyer?
Being a suspect who just outran a car when the only similarity between them was that they were both black.
Paul Bossman confirms the settlement will now require Ramsey County to pay Tory White $75,000 for what happened here outside of his apartment in Falcon Heights back in 2020.
This has gone on a very long time, way longer than it should have.
It still is going on every day. Put a 1 in the chat if it's going on every single day.
Tory White never convicted of any crime.
I did nothing wrong. If I did nothing wrong, don't point your finger at me.
Some people might look at this.
I did nothing wrong.
Wow.
Don't point your finger at me.
Wow.
I did nothing wrong. If I did nothing wrong, don't point your finger at me.
Some people might.
So this is the problem. See, now, do you understand that there's going to be a certain percentage of your friends and family that are always going to believe that you did something wrong? So married Maiko, all you have to do is go to Chat GPT and put in there how to get the body camera in your state and prompt Chat GPT to write you a request for body cam footage. And it's so easy using Chat GPT. You can get a demand for body cam footage or demand for return of property done on Chat GPT in 2 seconds flat. I can literally teach you how to do it. It's that easy. It's simply that easy. But look how emotional this guy is for being wrongfully accused and wrongfully charged and wrongfully arrested.
Wrong. If I did nothing wrong, don't point your finger at me.
So he's upset because there's going to be a certain percentage of his family, friends, neighbors, coworkers who are always going to believe that he did do something wrong, that he did something wrong somewhere along the way. And he's upset.
Some people might look at this and say, gosh, that seems like a low dollar amount in this kind of case. Are they right?
Well, from a personal point of view, as you know, yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, right? Is it enough? Probably not to teach Ramsey County a lesson, but it's a reasonable amount of damages for what happened to Mr. Tory White in terms of injuries.
We've been asking Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher to speak with us about this case for more than 2 years now. We asked again today, but neither
happened to Mr. Tory White in terms of injuries.
We've been asking Ramsey County Sheriff Bob
Fletcher to speak. Bob Fletcher, Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher. Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher. I got it. He's seeking his 5th term as sheriff. Wow. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Here's the Bob Fletcher Ramsey County Sheriff. Here is his Facebook page. Okay, they've been trying to talk to him for years, is what they said.
Mr. Tory White in terms of injuries.
We've been asking Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher to speak with us about this case for more than 2 years.
For more than 2 years, and they're at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. This broadcast is almost over. But here is what Bob Fletcher looks like. Here's what he actually looks like. Do you want to see what Bob Fletcher looks like? Here he is. That's Bob Fletcher.
Some people say first responders run toward danger. They don't. First responders run towards people. They run towards mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles, friends, and neighbors. And they'll run towards you too, if you're in danger. If you ask them, they'll say they're just doing their job. But what these selfless and humble heroes won't tell you is it's a job like no other. First responders stand on the razor-thin line between calm and chaos, pain and suffering, safety and danger. They stand the line until it's time to run towards us, and they pay a toll. Their bodies battered inside and out, their scars seen and unseen, their families too often robbed of life's.
Look at what they're showing you. They're showing a bunch of G.I. Joe losers. Look at the G.I. Joe losers all lined up to run towards you. To run towards you. Okay, sure thing.
Sweetest gift. Time. First responders run toward us when we're in danger. Join us this weekend as we run for them, for their families, and for all they've sacrificed.
Oh, they didn't put my, there it is. There's my comment on that. There's my comment on that. You guys can, but I just wanted to show you who this Ramsey guy was. That's the guy he is. He puts up the propaganda.
Begin with a story about the case that Hennepin County is trying to pursue against Minnesota trooper Ryan Londrigan. He's accused of killing Ricky Cobb at a traffic stop last summer. Use of force experts often take center stage at any trial involving law.
Oh, what a load of crap. What an absolute load of shit. This is scumbag. He's a scumbag. There's just no other way to put it in the proper perspective. He's just a scumbag. He's just like the rest. He creates these propaganda videos that are just complete and utter crap. It's just, he just is a liar. He's a fraud. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, watch the last 4 seconds of this.
Now to a story that we've been telling you
more than 2 years now. We asked again today, but neither he nor anyone else at Ramsey County will comment. In the newsroom, Eric Rasmussen, 5 Eyewitness News.
Okay, so Ramsey's not going to.
How much time? You're a gentleman. How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey, you don't spit at officers.
He didn't spit at officers. He was getting something out of his mouth.
How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey.
Wow.
How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey, you don't spit at officers. 10 more minutes. Give me a spit mask too. He spit.
A spit mask today, just so you know, the spit masks today are pretty much a plastic bag that goes over your head. You can barely breathe through it. It's really, really disgusting what the spit bags that to protect our officers are today. And put a 1 in the chat if this guy did not spit at anybody. Put a 1 in the chat if he did not spit at a cop at all whatsoever, that they just beat his head against the wall for no reason.
Gentlemen. How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey, you don't spit at officers.
What a scumbag.
Give me a spit mask too. He spit.
Dude, you think that was very cool?
He's not spitting at anybody, and if he was spitting at people, he'd be spitting at them now. The guy's got a fist into his face.
You spit. No, not whatever. Just spit on. Turn your head here.
Oh, his head's bashed open. Holy shit.
You spit. No, not whatever.
Look, his head's bashed open. He's bleeding out the side of the head.
Just spit on. Turn your head here.
That's the blood from his face all over the wall where they smash his head into the wall.
Sit up.
All the way.
They knocked him senseless.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's gonna have stitches in it.
She said he's going to need stitches.
But our doctor did.
Where was this? Where was this?
You're a gentleman.
This cop was suspended while the case continued. The officer was arrested, charged with assault, and locked up for just 13 minutes, then released on bail. This cop was fired. This guy became a cop in 1991. The guy who got his head slammed against a wall was drunk. But he wasn't spitting on anybody.
How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey, you don't spit.
Wow. Wow.
How much time you got? How much time you got? Hey, you don't spit.
Wow. Wow, but where was this? I want to call this police department. Okay, this was police officer slams man's head against the wall inside of a hospital in 2013. The cop was fired. But was the cop brought up on criminal charges? See, this is what I will do as a legislator, as a governor, as a mayor. I will introduce legislation that creates criminal codes against cops. Not wrongdoing, not internal affairs. You get charged by a special prosecutor, someone who's retired that isn't beholden to the judges and the DA's office, that isn't from the next county over. Retired prosecutors, retired defense attorneys who are serving as prosecutors to prosecute these disgusting JBTPs. That's what we're dealing with here. I don't care if he was fired. Put a 1 in the chat if you don't give a shit that he was fired. We want to see him charged and jailed. Just like you and I would be charged or jailed if we grabbed someone's head and slammed them against a wall. He didn't spit at anybody. He was drunk, went and was getting the stuff out of his mouth, whatever it was. But he didn't spit at the cop. It's just so unbelievable to me that and don't get me wrong, I love the subreddit police brutality because they show the corruption of these pigs. But the thing is that I want to see these cops charged with crimes. That's what I want to see. I want to see them charged with an actual crime. 2013. So this is 11 years ago. It's 11 years ago.
Record it.
Wow. Here we go again. Here's another one.
Record it. I am.
He punches him on the way down. They're pulling him out of the car.
Record it.
He punches him right there.
Record it.
The guy's going to the ground with 3 cops on top of him. 2 cops.
Record it.
Punches him. Punches him.
I am.
Punches him.
Record that. Oh, no. Hey.
This is what I'm talking about. It has nothing. So for the so-called good cops, you so-called good people, it has nothing to do with you being a good person or a bad person. When you agree to sign up to do these policies, procedures, and protocols to drag people out of their cars and jump on top of them and to start to punch them, you're a bad person. Do you get it? You're a bad human being. Don't blame me. I just say the quiet part out loud, but don't call them pigs. Don't call us pigs, whatever you do. We don't want to be called pigs. Chili, don't call us pigs. You're being mean, Chili. You're judging all of us. This is the policy and procedure and protocol for all of you. You all agreed to do this to people. You're a scumbag, dude. Do you get it? You agreed to do this to people. Makes you a scumbag. Don't you get it? If I agree to beat children, makes me a scumbag. If I agree to rob my neighbor, it makes me a scumbag. If I agree to throw people on their belly, punch them, and put them in torture cuffs, that makes you a scumbag. Do you not get it? It's got nothing to do with me, bud. It has to do with you. I heard so much drawback, so much kickback that I go online and I hate cops and I demonize cops. I'm not demonizing you. You're showing the demon in yourself, you dirty JBTP. You dirty freaking piece of. That's what you are. You signed up to do this to people. You agreed that this was okay to do. I didn't do that. You did it. You agreed to it. You signed up for it. For your money, your insurance, your benefits. Scumbag. Scumbag, JBTP, put it in the comment section. JBTP. You read the JBTP in the comment section, copper. You agreed to do this. I didn't. F you. You got women jumping in to treat people like this as though there's some sort of muscle.
Man.
I mean, does it look bad that's 3 white cops and 1 black guy? It does. I'm sorry, it looks like the truth.
What the fuck out the way?
3 white cops and 1 black guy. And you don't have to be some DEI raging liberal to go, oh, it's a black man and there's white cops. You could be a conservative Republican right winger. You can go as far as Ted Cruz as your nominee. He's further right than Trump. You don't have to be a genius to see that this is 3 white people on top of a black dude. Now you add in the slave catcher badges, and what do you get? You get a powder keg. Where if you're for law and order like I am, if you're for justice, if you're for truth, then you now have to say the truth is it's 3 white people on top of a black dude. Whether I like it or not, I don't want that to be true. I don't want it to be true. It is true, is it not?
I ain't getting out. Shit.
We are just learning a man repeatedly punched by a former LMPD officer received a settlement from Metro government months ago. Jairus Ransom was arrested at a West Louisville Kroger in 2018. Body camera video appears to show officers dragging Ransom to the ground, followed by several punches thrown by one officer, Corey Evans. Charges against Ransom were later dropped. In November, Ransom received a $220,000.
No, but what about the charges against the cop?
Kroger in 2018. Body camera video repeatedly punched by a former LMPD officer received a settlement from Metro government months ago. Jairus Ransom was arrested at a West
So Jairus was
Kroger in 2018. Body camera video appears to show officers dragging Ransom to the ground, followed by several punches thrown by one officer, Corey Evans.
So Corey Evans. Was Corey Evans charged with assault?
Charges against Ransom were later dropped. In November, Ransom received a $220,000 settlement from the city. LMPD cleared Evans of wrongdoing in the case in December of...
What? You pay a guy almost $250,000, but then you clear the cop of wrongdoing?
2019. In February of 2022, Evans was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison after admitting to hitting a protester in the head with a baton during the 2020 Breonna Taylor protests. Evans has since been released from prison and is on probation in Indiana.
Evans must also pay the victim nearly $2,000. Evans pleaded guilty last August in this excessive force case. Court documents say in May 2020, Evans hit a protester in the back of the head with his...
So okay, he had to go to federal prison for 2 years, not for what he did to this gentleman, but for what he did in 2020 during the Breonna Taylor protests, which there should have been protests for that. Breonna Taylor was viciously, savagely murdered by the cops. So it's just so confusing.
Riot stick while that person was kneeling with their hands on their head. Evans pleaded guilty last August in this excessive force case. Court documents say in May 2020, Evans hit a protester in the back of the head with his riot stick while that person was kneeling with their hands on their head to surrender for arrest.
Oh, shit. Look at this. I mean, look, but don't call them pigs. Don't call this guy a pig. He looks like a pig. He acts like a pig. He oinks like a pig. It must be a pig. But don't you call them pigs, Chili, because that makes you bad. Makes you look bad for calling them pigs. What about the guy in the neck brace? What about this pig right here who was convicted and put in prison for 2 years for bashing a guy's head in as he was on his knees with his hands in the air? What are you talking about? But I'm the bad guy for calling him a pig? This makes me the bad guy? I don't think so. Go fly a kite, bro. Have a ham sandwich. See you next Tuesday, as my friend from the land down under would say. See you next Tuesday. C-U-N Tuesday. There it is. There it is right there. What am I at? 3 hours here? All right. All right. All right. James the Tyrant Terminator. I see you, buddy. Soy Leal, good to see you. So you say, put it in the comment section for me, JBTPOTVO. Just type it in the comment section for me real fast. I'm almost back, you guys. I'm sorry I missed a couple of days this last week. As you guys know, I like to work 7 days a week. I just needed a few days. Look, my face is actually getting normal again after working out a few times and getting myself going. April's here. Good to see you, April. Thank you for coming. I super appreciate it. Michael Eline, he goes with the FTVO instead of OTVO. I could figure out what that F means. Chevy, what's up, Playboy? What's up with the Playboy? What's up with the Playboy? Michael, I see you're doing those vertical live streams, man. It's really working out for you. You're getting tons and tons of views, man. I'm super happy for you, dude. Couldn't be happier for anybody more than I am for Michael Eline. Jenna, I just seen that you were live. You know, it's funny. I was raised by what you would call lexicons. The parenting I received was based on my parents always correcting my verbiage. And I still like to say, I seen it. I seen them doing it. I swear. Instead of saying I saw, I always say I seen. I just seen that you were live. I love it, Jenna. Thank you for coming. Clown Patrol is here. Flatback, Danielle Brown. Take the time you need. I'm trying. My face is finally looking normal again. I was looking just like so. I was eating like 10, 15 candy bars a day in that jail. It was really horrible. Plead the fifth. What's going on, Playboy? Bree, how are you doing? Nice to see you, my friend. Angie, so good to see you. Yeah, that Brandy, any code crime infraction is arrestable. That's going to be the 2001 case of Atwater versus City of Lago Vista. That's what that comes from. I seen it. Jack Booth, Thug Pig, Dawn, good to see you. Thank you for coming. So you say. Yeah, it's Sonia Massey, Warren. I covered her thing yesterday. I hope the cop, I just want to be clear on this. I wrote yesterday he's going to get acquitted, the cop. I hope he doesn't. But with the Terry versus Ohio, that officer safety is first, more important than all your rights. I think that cop in Illinois is going to walk. I think he's going to be acquitted. I really do. I don't want that to be the case. So if anybody got that from me, that's not really how I feel. I just feel like he's going to be acquitted, because you got a picture of her holding the pot like this as though she's throwing hot water on him. Team DLZ, Chad, what is going on, Playboy? What is going on? Super chat. How are we doing on the funds for the lawsuit? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we got. I'll tell you where we are. Let me sign in here real quick. Here's where we are for the funds for the lawsuit. We are going to sue. I'm definitely so just so you know, 1 second, I'll tell you right where we are. Because the thing is we got a great case against the jail. We can definitely sue the jail because of the things that they did. And last donation 43 minutes ago, Brandy Swanee, we're at $4,500 right now on the GoFundMe for the lawsuit. So if you guys want to donate to this, you can. Every single dime of this money, not a penny of this goes to me, to bills, to business, to anything like that. This just goes 100% to the civil rights attorney that we're hiring to sue the jail and to try to sue the judge for violating my Fourth Amendment right. So if I see all these here, Brandy just donated $50. Thank you. Paula Anderson, thank you. Anonymous, thank you. David Harkness, thank you. I appreciate it. Eric Lass, thank you. An anonymous donor put $400 in 7 days ago. Stephanie, thank you. I appreciate it. Anonymous. Dustin Noland, anonymous. Eric, Daniel Gabriel, James, Jesse Hunter, Bonsathi Mool, thank you. Kyle, thank you. I appreciate it. Anonymous, $500 10 days ago. Charles Mayer, thank you, Anonymous. That's 2 in a row that were huge. Thanks, man. Luciano, Roger, Jeremy, Anonymous, Matthew Strauss. Wow, Joseph put in $1,200, man. Holy smokes. Thanks a lot, Joseph. I guarantee you we don't stop until this is done. Stomper, we know who you are. Thanks for coming, Stomper. Dan, Kent Shaw put in 100. Anonymous put in 10. Thank you so much. I really super appreciate it. You know, this fund here is only, I think we can sue the judge for a Fourth Amendment violation. I'm still talking to lawyers on the phone. I've got one constitutional law scholar who told me we're not going to get anywhere. And then I had another one tell me, yeah, I'll put the GoFundMe link in the community tab, plead the fifth. I want to get that judge. I want her to have to pay. I want Ann Zimmerman, the biased, unprincipled, corrupt, disgusting judge. I want her to have to pay out of her own pocket. That's what I want for locking me up for 4 months. That's what I truly want. That's what I want. That's what I want more than anything else. That's more than anything else. That's what I want to do. So I want to say thank you to all those people who donated. I super appreciate it. I mean, it means an absolute ton to me. We don't stop. We don't stop. We don't stop. If you want to protect yourself and protect your family, make sure you have a Fifth Amendment trifold, Fifth Amendment cop cards. These go in your wallet. These only come out when you got a copper in front of you. Memorize every bit of this. If you bought one and you want me to give one to a friend for free, give me their address. I mean, I just want to get these to as many people as I possibly can. All right, I got to get the flock out of here. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I will see you guys on the next one. Let's OTVO! Let's OTVO! Let's overturn Terry versus Ohio! Let's get it. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming. Mikey, Chevy. Later, Gators.